Folks, we are live. How is everyone doing? The Grim Reaper of the future is coming to kill all of our Pokemon investments. So that's what we're going to try to talk about today and get your guys' thoughts on it. I'm going to wait for a few people to mosey on in here before we really get going. But how's everyone's day going? How is late June treating everyone? Pokemon Catcher 25, what's up? Leaf Green Goblin, always in here. How's it going, man? We got Ken Lambo in here. What's up, brother? Oh, man. Anyone been picking up some good stuff? What's everyone's latest buys lately? Are we getting in on Paldea on this drop? Are we not touching Scarlet and Violet era at all right now and still on Sword and Shield? Or going back to Sun and Moon, XY? Further back? What's going on? Ken says, can you please talk about the recent Japanese booster boxes being resealed with blank paper inside? Even Japanese streamers are being fooled live. Wow. I can't talk about that because I wasn't aware of this. I don't keep up a lot with the Japanese stuff. That's crazy, though. But I mean, honestly, even PokeRev got fooled on that first edition base box. So, or what was it, a Neo? He got fooled in a couple boxes. Rusty, TCA Gaming, he got fooled. He had a box in his collection for years and got fooled when he opened it up. I mean, look, there's good fakes out there. There are good fakes. You don't have to. I mean, even the most expert people in this hobby get fooled. Pokemon Dentist at work trying to watch my 10 cases of Charizard UPCs just arrived. 10 of them? Going big. I like it. Just pre-ordered some 151. Dylan. All right. Leaf Green Goblin. Zard's 10. Yeah. Pokemon Catcher Waifu, 10 bucks a card. That's not a bad pickup. If you can find some waifus at 10 a card, it's not a bad play. Chinese cards mooning, getting while you still can. They're cheaper than English. Yeah. Yeah, this Chinese thing's getting crazy, especially how they, well, I don't know. How they, almost like made the names of the legendaries in Scarlet and Violet all, Chinese sort of names. So I don't know if Pokemon, knew what they were doing. I'm sure they did, but it's just kind of like ironic how that happened, huh? And now all of a sudden the Chinese markets are booming this year. Picking up some Japanese stamp box promos. Always good with the stamp promos. Cheap booster box bundles and VMAX. Yes. Season Salt here, channel member. What's up, man? One of the first channel members. Season Salt is. Zach's got CGC 9.5s. Yes, CGC 9.5s. Really anxious to see how that play turns out. That's going to be an interesting one. Pre-ordered a few 151. Hyped about the original 151 being represented. I am too. Kadabra back in a set. What about that? Those resale boxes have become a big problem. Yep. That's kind of news terrifies me. ETB's evolving dump in Walmart Canada yesterday, midnight. Woo! Evolving skies? If so, I hope you picked up everyone up that you could. Just ordered 151 Pokemon Center ETBs. RJ, what do you mean by just ordered? Do you mean on the day they dropped, or did they restock and you got to order more? You got to order like after the initial drop. I'm anxious to hear that. Ronnie said, I'm all in because of you. Thanks for your videos, bro. Hey, thanks for being here, Ronnie. I appreciate it, man. And then really flip. I'm in Canada and have been looking hard. You in Ontario. Yes. Okay. Is there going to be some debating? Nothing planned right now. Anyone? I mean, I guess I didn't reach out to anyone to come on today. Honestly, guys, like it's hard to get a consistent stream of guests on. One, just like reaching out and getting everyone's schedules like to align. It's so hard to find people that these schedules align and try to get them on certain times, certain days. And so I've just been kind of taking a break these last couple of weeks, but I have guests coming up, especially in July. Some super good guests coming up in July. I've been really working on that. But I took a couple of weeks off just because it was just getting so hard to make all the schedules align. Okay, so I guess we've been here a minute, so I'll jump into things. So the future, right? It is like one of the biggest topics that's always talked about in Pokemon investing. You know, the future is always going to come get us, and you know, we're going to lose out on everything. And you know, obviously, one of the things that always gets compared is other collectibles. And so, like, you know, like Beanie Babies, 90s sports cards, you know, more modernized comics, things like that. So first thing you need to think about, first off, is think about like 90 sports card. I collected 90 sports cards. Me and my dad would, you know, we'd stop at a gas station, we'd crack some packs in the parking lot, and we'd have a good time. You know, I played hockey, so we collected hockey cards. We also collected, you know, baseball and football cards. But you know, so I knew the players. You know, I was in on collecting sports cards, and you know, obviously when Pokemon came out, transferred that, grew up, kind of grew out of it. But what I'm trying to get to is go back to right now. Anyone who collected sports cards, are there any other than like, you know, the crazy stonk ones like Michael Jordan rookie or Wayne Gretzky rookie, and just like a regular box that doesn't have some enormous hit in it, no big rookie cards, nothing. Do you really care to go back and open them? I don't know. I'm just asking because I don't really care, right? Like, I love those as a kid. Like, I have memories doing it with my dad, but it's like I can't think of like anything I want to go back and open. And when I think about Pokemon, right, and I think there's a lot of people kind of getting on this, is I think we want to go back and open everything. It's just the money that stops us, right? For a lot of us that got in the hobby around when I did, like 2015, 16 time, the prices weren't where they are now. And so I was able to open a lot of stuff. When I got back in, base set booster packs, $30, unlimited, $30. You know, jungle, fossil, $15, $20. And so it made sense, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll pay $30 to open my packs and relive my childhood. Great, I'll pay $15. This is awesome. But do you think about like Beanie Babies like that? Like, oh, I can afford that super expensive, you know, bear, that Princess Di bear now for it's only this much because everything, you know, dropped, you know, it's worth nothing now. I'm going to go buy all these. No, you don't feel like that. Why? It's because it just doesn't have the same spot in our heart. Now, at the same time, we could say the same thing about video games, right? I mean, I'm sure tons of us, if you're around my age, you remember playing all those Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, N64, PS, PS1 games, and our GameCube games, and you want to, you know, you want to go play them again, or you want to just have them in your collection. You want to go get those systems, like all those different colored N64s. Like, there's stuff that you inherently just want, and there are price bottoms. Everyone says things can go to zero. I will argue that point until the day I die. Pokemon will never go to zero. Video games will never go to zero. And the reason is there's enough inherent demand. There's enough want from enough people out there that they'll never go to zero. Does that mean that we'll never have drops? Does that mean things go up forever? Absolutely not. What that means is that when things do have a drop, right? When things have gigantic meteoric rises, they're always going to have drops. Japanese product will have a drop, as much as everyone hates to hear it. Yeah, it will. Like, I'm the most bullish person out in this Pokemon hobby, one of them at least. And I'm here to tell you, there will be price drops in the Japanese market. There'll be price drops in the English market. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to drop to higher floors. They're not going to drop to like what they were after release. They're not going to drop to their lowest of lows. They're going to have higher floors. We saw it after kind of the big pandemic, Logan Paul boom and bust. Everything settled at higher floors than where they were in 2018, 19. Everything did. Nothing dropped back down to its 2016, 17, 18 lows. And the same thing goes for this. It's because everyone out here, everyone in this chat right now, everyone watching this, there is a price that you would pay to pretty much open up any single product out there, right? Anything from base set, if you jump into like the mid-era sets, maybe like a diamond and pearl, jump to like maybe a heart gold, soul silver. Maybe if you go back to like an EX era, if you want to jump, even more forward, you will pay a certain price to open any box. Look, I'd pay a certain price to open Steam Siege. I'd pay a certain price to open Crimson Invasion. Are there any cards that like are going to stonk in there? No. Are there any cards that I really want? No. But there is a price point, right? There's a price. Everyone's price is different. Maybe $60, $70, $80, $90 a box. But everything will reach a price where people will pay it just to open it, just to enjoy the cards, because there's enough actual enjoyment in this hobby. And so we get so caught up in all these, the buyout talk and the manipulators, all the market manipulators, and everyone thinks this whole market is driven by just speculation and manipulation, and everyone trying to make a quick buck. And that's a part of it. But after those buyouts happen, right, or after a card gets manipulated, how does the market continue with that card? It has to have inherent interest there. It can't, not everyone is looking to try to make a quick buck or a quick flip, right? There's a whole larger group in this small investing community of collectors out there who just enjoy the hobby. They just like the art on the card. They just want to collect it. They want to open the boxes, right? They want to open these $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 boxes. They actually want to. Now, everything reaches a point where the majority of the population says, yeah, that's not worth it to open anymore. But at the same time, if prices do start coming down, there's a majority of the population that will say, yeah, at that price, it makes sense. I'll start opening things, right? And that's kind of like where that whole, going to zero thing comes. Everyone's worried about the future and things going to zero. Zero is a very strong number. Zero means you can list every card in an entire set, the sealed boxes, the sealed packs, and they won't sell. They'll go all 7-day auction with no bids. Now, do 90% of every card in every set eventually do that? Yeah, a lot of them, right? I mean, commons, uncommons, trainers, energies, even some of the rares, hollows. You can list it at 99-cent auction, and a lot of them won't sell. But I don't think there's a set. No, I'm just going to come out and say it. There's no set in Pokemon where you can list every single card in a set and it won't get at least some bid in auction. Like there's not a set with no hits at all. Even Steam Siege, even Crimson Invasion, even every set out there has cards that people are willing to pay for. And people who think that if the Pokemon, popularity starts to die down, they start printing less sets a year. We go back to those older eras where they only released maybe 5-6 sets in a whole era. They only release a couple sets a year. Everything just kind of dies down. It's not peppered all over YouTube and Instagram and TikTok all the time. And it's just a more of a normalized hobby again. There's always going to be enough inherent interest out there. When I got back in this hobby, I didn't know what investing was. And a lot of people that get into this hobby don't know what investing is. This investing side is what people find down the road, right? When they've already got in, people open packs, they enjoy the card, they buy the sets, buy the cards. And then somehow it just trickles down to the investing, right? Where they actually want to find a way to make their money go farther, to be able to, their collection to hold value over time. And I just think that people don't really take that into consideration. They hear kind of the doomsday type prediction. They hear people in this community that are very smart, very intelligent people. But they hear them, say these things about Pokemon crashing or going to zero, or it's not going to last forever. And, all the high popularity is going to die down. Then, they're going to have a liquidity crisis. Yeah. So listen, those are all very real concerns. It's just they're over magnified. If popularity starts to die down, demand starts to die down, and prices start to drop, you can run into a situation where people do want to start to unload their product, or the economy starts to crash. People need the money, and you will kind of have a race to the bottom. People will keep undercutting each other. It becomes harder and harder to sell your product, so you have a liquidity issue. But there is always a floor where it finds, where there's enough people out there that if the economy's struggling, maybe they're not. Maybe their jobs are recession proof. Or if Pokemon demand's fallen, that's their cue to say, hey, this is my time to buy. I see opportunity here. Same thing happens in the stock market. You'll see stocks crashing, and then you'll see people on CNBC coming on saying, oh, I'm buying in these times. Well, why? Everything's crashing. The banks are failing. I'm buying, right? You're always going to have both sides, right? There's always going to be the yin and the yang. And so, I'm one of those people. There's price points I have in mind for pretty much any card, any box, to where if it starts hitting those price points, I will start pulling the trigger, right? Let's say these Sun and Moon boxes. Let's say this tag team hype, starts to die, and Cosmic Eclipse is no longer going for $800 to $900 a box, and it starts to fall and undercut. If that box goes down to $200 and $300, I'm buying it. I don't care. I'll buy it. There's enough cool cards in that set. I'll open it. If it drops to $100, I'll buy out cases and just open them right on screen. You guys can watch me. And there's enough people out there that feel that way that Pokemon just it cannot go to zero. Whereas other hobbies of the past didn't have that kind of drive behind it. And I think that's what a lot of people miss when they start talking about that. I mean, yeah, those are all very real like crises. They're very real times in the hobby where the hobby can take 30, 40, 50% drops, but the hobby catches itself because there's enough people that actually enjoy it. But I'm gonna try and catch up with the chat before I kind of go any further, see what everyone's saying in here. What is going on, chat? What we got? 85 people. No one works anymore, dude. Does anyone work anymore? We all just at home during the day doing nothing. I know my job's slow. I'm in sales, and we have a lot of free time on our hands. But summer's always kind of like that. People go on vacations and stuff. Let's see what's going on. Got a lot of people talking about 151, the Japanese stuff. Let's see what we got. If I reach 10,000 on Crowdfunder, I'll be quitting my job as a school teacher and opening up a card shop in Scotland. Jordan, I hope you get there, man. That's exciting. Congrats on that. I hope you get funded. Anyone in Scotland wanting to fund Jordan, there's his name. Jordan, you can leave the link if you want. I'll try to help you out, man. I'll share the link for you. Charizard UPC to the moon. I like it, Willie. I'm hoping. I'm in it. Mr. Walrus here, like always. What are we angry about today? Everything. Angry about everything today, man. You know how it is. Doom and gloom around here. You know me. Okay. So we got some Chinese booster. Just got their first Chinese booster box today. Dreams come true. Set B with extra battle day, Lily. Yeah, so Chinese guys. I mean, I'm seeing more and more people. This is the exact thing that happened about 6 to 8 months ago. I had people consistently coming on my channel talking about Japanese and asking if I was in Japanese and asking my opinion on Japanese. And it just slowly trickled up. And now we're in this full-blown mania in Japan like we see today. And I'm starting to see that same type of thing with Chinese stuff. Everyone's starting to say, hey, Chinese this, Chinese that. It seems like it's getting the traction. It seems like the Chinese is getting the traction. What else do we have? Oh, here he goes. He's if anyone wants to check it out, I get pledged 10,000. Oh, wait, that's the same comment. Sorry, man. So used to Eli being late. I forgot I have to be on time for your stream. Yeah. Eli's always a little late on his, isn't he? That's funny. All right. Alexandra. I feel like sports cards and Pokemon cards are a bit different. One is more anchoring in time, like the most hyped player changes from time to time, and Pokemon cards are based off a fantasy universe. Exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, when I got back into Pokemon 15, and I went back to, to base set, like it's the same Pokemon, right? Like they were printing Flashfire, and then with Charizard, and then you go back to base set, it's still Charizard, right? It's the same characters. Now they make new characters, it changes, but it's the same thing. Instead of like going to collect these old players that no longer play, everyone's forgot about. New kids growing up today, they have no connection to those players. Like you'll talk about the greats of the past, and they'll say, "I don't know who that is." Right? I'll say, "Yeah, Paul Correa used to be my favorite player. Played for the Mighty Ducks," and everyone will be like, "I don't even know what that is. Who are the Mighty Ducks? Oh, you mean the Ducks? Right? They're not even called the Mighty Ducks anymore." And so much changes in sports, and so much can happen with people where Pokemon doesn't have that issue, right? We're all in fantasy land here. Flip to flip. Seriously, if you don't have a position in Evolving Skies now, it's kind of late to be in the game. You know what? Speaking of that, where are all these supposed reprints, right? Everyone's saying everything's getting reprinted. Every Sword and Shield set. It's what I wouldn't hold any of it. They're going to print Evolving into the ground, Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin. Hey, Lost Origin got announced. Where is it? That's my question. Where is it? Where's Lost Origin? Or is Silver Tempest coming? Obviously not Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike. I mean, it's the same thing over and over. There's all the fear mongering, right? It's everything's going to get reprinted. Everything's getting printed into the ground. You can't invest in Modern. There's too much of it printed. It's going to be on the market forever. And you hear the same stuff, and it almost gets old. It gets boring. That's why I don't really try to talk about it as much. It's the same tired out arguments, and we're in the same type of thing. Look, it's my opinion, not trying to pump the markets. We're going to be having the same conversations we did about Sun and Moon, right? I get we had the, pandemic and Logan Paul celebrities, but I guarantee it, we're going to have the same conversations in 2 to 3 years. And we're going to say, I can't believe all these Sword and Shield boxes are $200, $300, $400, $500 a box. I just can't believe these modern cards have, with all the supply and all, it's just, it gets so old. It gets so old. But yeah, flip to flip, you're right. I mean, Evolving Skies, it's looking less and less likely every day. Pokemon's got Scarlet Violet base, Paldea to deal with. They got Obsidian Flames. They're going to have their work cut out for them just keeping enough 151 printed. Then they're going to have to look forward to the next set and look ahead to and it's just, they have so much going on that I don't think they have time or the energy and manpower, or whatever it is, to go print every single set that people complain about rising in price. I just don't see it. And then it gets even worse when the games go out of rotation, the cards, because then Pokemon has very little, if any, reason to ever reprint those items because they don't need them for the card game anymore. And so the older sets age, the less and less likely it is we're going to see any type of reprints. And a lot of those sets are already 2021. So we're about 6 months away from over, almost 3 years old. It's looking less and less likely. That's all I'm going to say. Cards and games have a use, unlike Beanie Babies. Yeah, I mean, you could argue like the single cards, the PSA cards, they're the same. They're just two stationary things. But sealed, that's why I'm so pro sealed product. You can always open it, right? There's a price in everyone's head that they would pay, that they would take their hard-earned dollars and they'd buy something they don't need just to have the fun of opening it. And that goes for every single set out there. That's why sealed product is so valuable. Let's see. Flip to flip. If they do a new drop pickup in other case, just don't chase it. 151 is awesome too. If they do a new drop, pick it up. Oh, you mean Evolving Skies? Okay, yeah, absolutely. If they reprint Evolving Skies, it's definitely time to load up on it. I agree with that. Dylan, I'm pretty sure a few Beanie Babies that are worth big money, isn't there? You got me. I have no idea. I mean, there could be like some of those really old printed with like the old faces and, the old tags, like the original first print tags and stuff that are worth a lot of money. But like a lot of the ones that we were all chasing as kids, that, did get pumped up, those are all basically worthless. I think they're all, you can get lots of like 100 of them on eBay for, nothing. So, but yeah, I'm sure there's some of the first out there with the old tags, the old faces, the whatever collectability on them that are still worth a little bit. Because here's the thing, there's always going to be that niche market of collectors in every single hobby. It's just the way it is. There's always going to be people that hold on to the bitter end. Pokemon video games take too much time for me nowadays, and plushies take up too much space. It's the way I got back. That's why I got back into cards. You know what? I felt the same way. I hadn't played a game since Leaf Green, Fire Red, that era. I gotta tell you, I played Violet. It was amazing. I'm looking forward to the next games that come out. I mean, Pokemon's still fun. They still know how to do it. I'm almost 33 years old, and I gotta say, they're still just as fun as they ever were. I mean, they just get better and better. So I don't know how they continue to do it, how they continue to keep the interest year over year, but they do somehow. All right, Ken, your honest reaction to the new legendaries in the Scarlet and Violet. I think those current designers are ruining the Mons. Hope they'll use some form of AI to create a ton of good Mons for Gen 10. Yeah, I mean, I talked about it before. There's definitely some type of something weird going on. I mean, just the names in general, right? It seems like they're really trying to cater to more of the Chinese market. Just going to say it. Yeah, I agree. What is it? That fish? Then you have, I mean, there's a couple of them, right? There's a couple that are pretty cool looking, but then the other ones are just like, really? How is that a legendary Pokemon? I agree. It's just like looking back at the birds and then the dogs in Gen 2. And then you just look at all the old legendary Pokemon. They were, they're still some of the biggest chase cards in the hobby. And I just don't see a lot of these new ones being that. But I will say one thing, playing the game did give me a different level of connection to the new Pokemon, the new cards and stuff. And so, playing the games definitely still helps drive the card collecting for sure. And that's another thing great about Pokemon is the games are still selling crazy. They still do very well. And that's a huge plus for the hobby because for the anime, the games, they somehow always draw people back to the cards in the end. If Chien Pao came out 10 years ago, you'd like the design. It's, I don't know. I mean, I try to be very, I try to not like be judgmental of anything that comes out. I try to look at everything fresh. And there are some fresh Pokemon that are really cool. But I don't know. Some of those legendaries just aren't the Chen Pao's pretty cool, but yeah, some of them are just wait, no, Chen Pao, is that the I have to look that one up. Is that the fish? Or is that like the saber-toothed tiger looking thing? I forget. You'll have to let me know on that one. Let's see. Maybe there are, but I feel like there aren't. That they were made to be collectible like Pogs. That's why they're nothing now. Beanie Babies, yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like anything that's made to be collectible and not really have a rarity, like the Beanie Babies didn't have a rarity, right? They were in every store. I mean, maybe they printed less than some others, but you didn't have to like pull them, right? It'd be different. It'd almost be different if there were like sealed like boxes and it was like a mystery or something, or and they actually made like the bears or the rare ones harder to pull, and they were like 1 out of 100 or something. And you had like some of the more common ones. It might have been something different, but no, you just walk in a store and buy them off the shelf, whichever one you want, and then they price some higher than others because of this manufactured rarity they made it seem like they had. It didn't make sense. It's truly ridiculous to compare that to Pokemon. It's ridiculous to compare like modern comics to Pokemon that people like to do. Comics are the same way. You walked in and you bought the comic that you wanted. Now, are there more sought after comics? Yeah. Are the older ones sought after because it's hard to find them in mint condition because they were all red and destroyed? Yeah. But there was no rarity to them. Again, unless there were certain comics that had lower print runs, I'm not a comic expert, but it's not a thing where you have to open cases and cases of cards to pull that one alt art. That's true rarity. And if you can just buy something off a shelf, it's not rare. It's scarce. It's scarce now. It just was never rare. It was a manufactured item to be bought off the shelf. Let's see. And now I get it. You could argue that's why sealed product isn't rare, but the reason sealed product works is because the rare stuff is inside the sealed product and you have to open it to get the rare cards. And that's why more gets opened over time and obviously there's the fun, the gambling aspect. There's a lot of reasons why sealed product works and why it's not comparable to Beanie Babies, Pogs, comics, all these other things. Did everyone get their 151 pre-orders? I got mine off Pokemon Center for my PC TBs. I am waiting on the UPCs. Could be a mistake. Talked about it before. I'm okay missing out on plays. I am much more comfortable missing out on a play than I am getting in a play too soon and being behind them, being down on my money or sitting on dead money. I don't like that. I'd much rather wait if I'm right, be able to pick them up at a better price. If I'm wrong, and I just kind of wave and say, hey, see you later. I missed that one. Congrats to everyone else, right? It's what I'm doing with Evolving Skies right now. Sold out of all my Evolving Skies, continue to go up, up, and up. And I'm just kind of waving saying, okay, bye. I missed that play. I missed the rest of that play. It's over. Move on to something else. Because you can't go chasing. When you start chasing, that's when you can get hurt. What else do we got in here today? Dijen, collecting sports cars is an L. Real sports fans rather have a signed jersey. Hey, I mean, this was some hot takes right there. I don't know if there's any sports car collectors in here, but yeah, I mean, for me, I agree. I'd rather have a signed jersey. I got some signed hockey sticks from some of my favorite players back in the day. I got some signed jerseys. I'm with you on that. I agree. I don't know if that's agreed upon in the sports community, but I agree with it. Buying a big quantity of cards to resell it's not manipulation. It's prediction. It's just people are stupid and buy these specific cards at stupid prices at the wrong time. This is idiocy. Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. It's like, does it necessarily mean it was manipulation? Does it mean that those cards weren't supposed to be worth that much? I mean, here's the thing. If a price moves in a card for any reason, if just everyone, kind of gets together and everyone just decides, oh, wow, we've been missing this card and buys it up, does that mean it was manipulated? No, it just means that, people finally found out that, hey, we missed this card at the time. we made the mistake, like maybe a YouTuber brought it to your attention and it got bought and now it's properly valued. Maybe it was undervalued. So it doesn't mean just because things go up, it doesn't mean they're overvalued just because they rose in value. There's a possibility they used to be undervalued. Now they've moved up to their proper value. So, there's a lot of reasons things move, but it doesn't always mean that the price is going to dump, right? I think the big thing we're seeing that on is obviously the tag team cards in Sun and Moon. There's XY cards. Where's Pokemon Gym Hero at? I got it. He told me every stream I need to pump XY because I like XY. But yeah, I mean, there's XY cards that have been moving because people. Here's what happens is people get into this hobby at all different walks of life, right? You could have got in with me back in 15, 16 with Evolutions and Go. Could have got in during the boom with Logan Paul. Could have got in at Hidden Fates. You could have gotten in, in Sword and Shield with some of the alt arts. You could be getting in right now with Scarlet and Violet. You could be getting in literally right now with 151. And then what happens is as you dig through and kind of sift through the hobby and go deeper and deeper, and you kind of get past that mass pack opening phase, which everyone goes through when they start, you start to find these other cards. You see these XY cards, these Sun and Moon cards, these Sword and Shield alt arts, and you say, oh man, it's a really cool card. I want that. But you don't know what the market was like. You don't know what it did. You don't know that it went like this and this and this and this, and now the price is here. You don't know that. All you know is, well, here's what they're selling for. Here's what eBay sold and TCG Player sold her at. Here's what the market's at. I'm going to try to find the closest I can to that. That seems like a fair price to me. And when you have large amounts of people coming in the hobby with like 151 and they're watching their favorite YouTubers and it's not that the people are pumping cards, but they feature cards. They feature a card. A lot of people like that card. They go to buy it because they inherently just want it. I know it's crazy to people. Some people aren't about the money and the manipulation, the buyouts and the investing. They just want the card. And they go and buy the card and it raises it to a new value, a new floor. And now everyone that comes in the hobby after that views that as the new floor, as what the card's worth until another. And that's just kind of how the hobby progresses to where no one's doing anything wrong there, right? There's no manipulation. There's no buyouts. YouTubers aren't pumping it. There's nothing wrong. It's just the natural enjoyment of the hobby and how things kind of move. And that's what people need to understand is that when things go up in price, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not that it doesn't mean there's a crash coming. It doesn't mean things are getting overinflated. It's just that is what people value things. And as other parts of the hobby, things in life, incomes rise, prices of cards rise. It's a normal fluctuation of things. Don't look too deep into it and try to find a boogeyman where there is no boogeyman. Let's see. It's no longer raising value over years. It's quick flip, the FOMO and scalp and milk every cent. There's definitely a side of the hobby like that. I know multiple people in this hobby, friends of mine, that they feel that exact way. They absolutely just want it. They're afraid to hold anything. They flip every single thing. And the safest thing to them is money in the bank. And hey, that's definitely a way you can go about it. Not everyone feels that way, but it's a way you can't get hurt, right? It's the same thing as the stock market, though. Any stock market trader will tell you, you can make consistent gains being a trader, but the major money is made in the long-term holding. It's kind of like the whole, you can't time the market, right? The best way to play the market is time in the market. And those are where the biggest gains are made. I forget the statistic, how many exact days, there's like 10 or 20 or 30 something days in a year that the market makes like 90% of its moves. And so if you're in and out, taking quick gains, this is stock market I'm talking about, you're going to miss all the biggest moves of the year by not just holding. And the same thing can happen with Pokemon. Think of Evolving Skies, right? What if you were a store, right? And you got your allocation and you sold it right out of the gate at whatever it was going for, 110, 120, 130. And then you saw the market moving, so you bought more cases at 200 and sold those at 300. And then you bought more at 350 and sold it at 4. It's like, okay, well, all along the way, you're paying fees, you're paying shipping, you're in and out, you're running ragged. When the other people just bought it at 100 and let it grow, and they just sat back and let it grow to 400, they actually outperformed all the in and out. Now, possibly you could have made better plays during that time, but I'd like to see the books on anyone who held large amounts. I mean, large amounts, like, multiple cases of like Sun and Moon this year, right? So Sun and Moon, all the crazy rise in Sun and Moon prices this year. Well, how many cards or how many products would you have had to flip this in the past year to keep up with the gains that someone holding Sun and Moon was just sitting on doing nothing, right? So there's always two sides to every story, you know? So it just, one, you have to find what works best for you. It's what you're most comfortable with, but there is no one size fits all in this hobby. Where do you see the TCG going in 5 years? What kind of new secret rares could they add? No idea. Artists are going to art. That's what Dan always says, catch them all collectibles. No idea. No idea. It's just going to get better and better. But here's the thing. Here is the main thing. Think back to, like, you know, any cards people go back to. Why do I go back and collect XY cards? I still like the, we have all this crazy art. I still like the Alakazam or the Gengar or the Charizard or the Mewtwo of that card, like that era. I still like that. Why are people going to the tag teams? People inherently, they just love those tag team cards. They forgot about them. They didn't realize, you know, how scarce they were going to be, and they're going back and buying those cards they love. The same things is probably going to happen with the alt arts. And then you're going to have, you know, the Illustrator Rare, Secret Illustrator Rares that people come back and do it. And just because the art gets better and better, even if we get to serialized cards, there's always something in each era that's going to pull people back. Whether you go back even farther and you want to dive deeper and you want to collect the primes, or you want to collect the level X's, you want to collect the legend cards, you want to go get gold stars, shinings. There's always something in each era that people want to go back to. Now, be careful with that, because there's going to be, this is why I'm down in a lot of like vintage and mid-era, is because just because there's people that want to go back and collect cards in that set, it doesn't mean every card is going to be valuable. There's a lot of hollows, right, that probably had a gigantic rise during the boom because everything was, that might not ever get that rise again. Like, you might be able to go find some hollow in a diamond and pearl set, or a heart gold soul silver set that might never move again, right? It just might not. Now, the major hits in those sets, right? Like the primes, level X's, they may move, right? There's the popular Pokemon will definitely move probably, but you're going to have the less popular Pokemon. You're going to have the less popular cards. Like, it's really hard for people to go back and collect hollows nowadays, right? It's just hard. People, you know, they're not even really considered hits anymore. It's hard for people to get on board unless you were just really in tune with that era or whatever it may be. But you need to watch out for that. But I truly believe there's at least some cards in every era that people do like and will go back to if the price is right, right? There's always going to be a price floor that enough people in the hobby will pay for. What else do we got? you have idiots that will make the Pokemon hobby shine forever. Check my statement. Yeah, so hey, listen. People will always spend their money on things they want and don't need before they spend their money on things they need. That's just the human condition. Doesn't mean it's Pokemon cards. You got people buying sports cards when they can barely pay or sports cars when they can barely pay their bills, just so they can pull up next to someone in a stoplight and look like a baller, right? You're always going to have people buying houses they can't afford, buying furniture and appliances they can't afford, throwing it on credit cards. You're going to have people taking vacations they can't afford just because they got to get away. I'll be in credit card debt for years over this, but I got to get away. You're going to always have people going to the store and buying impulse items, just throwing stuff in the cart that they don't need. But they won't go home and fix the shower that hasn't ran in 3 years. They won't go home and fix their fence that's fallen over. They won't replace the carpet that's been there since the 1990s. But they'll buy a pack of Pokemon cards because people are always going to want to satisfy their wants over their needs. Just the way it is. Just you can't fight the market. All you can do is be a part of it. And once you understand, you know, people's buying habits and you understand like what moves markets, it becomes a lot easier to predict things. You still can't predict it 100%, but it becomes easier. It becomes easier. Let's see. Pokemon is way too big of an IP to fail at this point. Only way we should worry is if they stop producing Pokemon games. Yeah, I mean, the IP is absolutely not going to fail. I mean, there's IPs much older than Pokemon that were much smaller that haven't. And as far as the cards go, they can stop making cards, right? It can become a dead TCG. There's enough people that still care enough that are going to collect them. Will we maybe like never see the prices that we think we're going to see in these cards, or like some of them might hit their heights of their highest ever? Possibly. But again, There's always going to be a floor where there's enough people worldwide that once those prices hit that floor, they're going to buy them up. They're just going to buy them to collect them. Just the way it's going to be. Even when you see these 10,000 population cards, there's 10 million people plus that want Pokemon product. And if you make a card $5, $10, they're just going to buy it. They don't care. They're going to buy it. It's the way it is. 6:46 a.m. in New Zealand, Grant. Wow. I don't know if you're up really early or if you're up really. Okay, you said early. I was going to say you're up really late, but appreciate you being here. Do you think Cosmic Pack price will go up anymore? First off, everyone in here right now, 130 people. Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. Box break on the channel, nostalgianomics.com. Cosmic Eclipse packs you can order, 27 a pack. They're coming from a sealed booster box, meaning there are going to be guaranteed hits. There's a whole list on TCG Player. It's probably like 20 cards long that you can actually get a higher value pool than what the pack costs. So a lot of opportunity there. But Cosmic Eclipse, 27. I took Hidden Faith down to $21, and we have 4 packs of Crown Zenith for $25. If anyone wants to be involved in that, the box break is gonna. I changed the date up. It's gonna be July 2nd. It's a Sunday night at 7. I messed up. It was originally on Friday, but yeah, Sunday night at 7, July 2nd. If you buy 2 or more packs and you don't hit anything, I will have guaranteed hits that I am going to throw in so everyone gets something. And also, if you are going to buy more than 2 packs or more than $50 worth, there are channel memberships. They're $4.99 a month. But if you're going to take part in the pack breaks, you get a 10% discount on every pack you order. So it pays for itself and then some, depending on how many packs you want to get for yourself. So that's cool. But it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in there. I'm going to try to have a couple of those a month for anyone who does want to be involved. But back to the question, Cosmic Clip packs. What happened is that Arceus box that was released, I forget around when, which set it was in, but it had Cosmic Eclipse packs in it. And then there were a couple other products that had Cosmic Eclipse packs well after Sun and Moon, and it was like in the middle of Sword and Shield. So that's why the single price of the packs are so low. Also, single packs are always lower than boxes because a lot of people just don't trust the hits because they're so all over the place. 2, people don't really trust, the weighing and the searching and all that in packs. And then 3, it's just because they're sealed boxes, sealed ETBs. They always hold a premium over sealed packs. That's not to say that sealed packs don't rise eventually when the supply gets low enough, but that's why Cosmic Eclipse is staying stagnant for so long in the loose packs is because the supply got dumped on the market so long after Sun and Moon had ended. And so it's just taking a long time for those to get eaten up. Let's see. Cosmic Eclipse was the first set I bought a booster case for. People were uninterested at it at the time, and I saw the set and more cards than ever, so I grabbed it for $5.50. Still got them. Oh man, you are loving life right now. Congratulations. Yeah, that's a great. I actually want to hit on that point too. I don't want to say every single box since I got in, because I think Flashfire did have a little bit of a rise when it came out. Ultra Prism, it was short printed, so it didn't stay low very long. And then Team Up was short printed, so it didn't stay low forever. Obviously, Evolving Skies. Towards the end of the pandemic and all that, Sword and Shield base and Rebel Clash and stuff, they were kind of shorter printed because of the demand. But most every set since I've been back in the hobby has sat for a while, and no one wanted them, right? Like when I used to walk up to the card store in 2017, 18, 19, and me and my wife would just kind of look at all the boxes they had and say, well, do you want to open, Lost Thunder? Nah, I don't know. Nah, I don't. It's only $100 or $110. Yeah, I know. I just don't really feel like it. And want to open Evolutions? It's $90. Yeah, okay. Let's open some Evolutions. Or Burning Shadows is only $100. Like all these boxes were nothing, and no one saw any growth in this stuff. And over time, you saw what happens. And so I'm just going to tell you, if you Scarlet Violet base, I could say it's a little lackluster. You look at Paldea, just go to TCG Player, search by cards only, and just scroll through those first like 3-4 pages of cards. You cannot tell me that is not an awesome set. There are a lot of cool hits in that set, a lot of cool cards. If you ask me, I think it's Paldea is going to be one of those sets. I'm not trying to pump it, but let's have this conversation again in 2 or 3 years when all the supply runs out. You're going to be, a lot of people are going to be kicking themselves that they didn't do what this guy did. Zacy? How do you say your name? Sorry, but what he did, and buy out a case at $550, and now those boxes, a single box is going for $800 to $900. I'm not saying that Paldea is going to be Cosmic Eclipse, but there's a very real possibility it's going to be $200-$300 a box, and people are going to realize that it was actually a good set, and it just got a lot of hate. So just going to throw that out there. It happens every single time. I can just go through a laundry list of sets, and it just continuously happens, and no one realizes it until it's too late. Let me scroll through some of these, trying to catch up with the chat. What price you see Evolving Skies ETBs in the next year? If no reprints, $100 plus. I'll say it, $100 plus, $100. That's a very real possibility. Sword and Shield is the true test investment when we look back at how market developed, even with mass printing. Yeah, I guess you could say that's kind of the after the pandemic era. You could say that. I mean, I'm just telling you guys, no matter what anyone tells you, people were saying that the secret is out and you can no longer invest in Pokemon Shield product back in 2016, 17, 18, and 19. Everyone was saying it. XY, Sun and Moon, everyone was saying it. Everyone's saying it's because a lot of people say it was only the pandemic that rose prices, but there were still small price gains in a lot of the XY sets going into those eras before that happened. Now, nothing like we see today, but people have been saying that the secret's out for a long time, and it continues to work over and over. So, yeah, we'll see with Sword and Shield. It'll be another test, but I just feel like people are going to want to keep putting Pokemon to the test every era, and they'll always come up with a reason why it won't work, and then it will work, and then people will come up with an excuse why it did work, and it's just kind of the same thing over and over. So I try not to even get caught up in it anymore. I just don't care. I'm just gonna stay the course, keep my head down, make fun content, and let everyone come up with their own minds about things. Mr. Walrus, people need to stop flipping and just focus on a part-time job. There's more value in honest, hard days work than flipping for 200%. That's hilarious. What do you mean, man? Gary V told me to flip on eBay. He told me to do this. Let's see. But if you anticipate Evolving Skies going up even more, how is it considered too late to get into it? Well, it's not considered too late. It's just that getting into a $400 box, there's risk. Like, just because I see it going up, it doesn't mean I'm right. There's a lot more risk. Whereas buying into 4 boxes of Paldea Evolved for the same price or less than I can for one Evolving Skies box, there's less risk. And for me, I see more upside potential, right? I see Paldea getting to $200 a box before I see Evolving Skies getting to $400 a box, which is the same percentage gain. So that's kind of where I'm talking about. It's not saying that it can't go up, right? It's like saying I see it's like saying, why aren't you buying Unified Minds? Like, you don't see Unified Minds boxes being worth more? Yeah, I see Unified Minds continuing going up, but for $500-$600, I'll buy a case of Paldea, or I'll buy I'll buy cards. Like, there's other things I can buy for that same price. That's why. Pika Pika. How would you go about selling on TCG Player for the first time? How do you reduce risk of scams? Would you recommend starting with low-priced items to get your good feedback? Yeah, I would. So I recently just got like my level 4 seller, like the top level on TCG Player. I have not had, so look, guys, I get like the opossum buds and the rattles and, kind of like the channels who always want to call out the negatives in the hobby and how this person's getting scammed and all this, fraud's happening. And, it really scares people. I'm just going to tell you right now. Back in the day, I had one person on eBay say they didn't get a Dark Charizard. I sent them a Dark Charizard in a white envelope. And they said they never got it. And they said they never got it after like 4 days. So I know they got it and saw it was in a no tracking envelope. So they wanted to get their, scam me. That was the only time I've been on eBay for like 13, 14 something years. I've been selling Pokemon cards for 8 years. That was the only time I've ever got scammed. Now I did go to sending tracking on my eBay orders, but I started selling TCG Player. I've sold 90% of my cards in plain white envelopes. Every one of them have gotten to the customer. So the mail hasn't lost them. I haven't got scammed. I have 100% positive feedback. The scams are way overblown. Now, yeah, start out with low priced items. Don't get yourself hurt, right? Start out with those cards from like, $1 to under $20. So you don't have to provide tracking if you don't want. Or if you want to go $20 plus, you can send them in a envelope or a small box and track them, right? So you won't get scammed. But the scams are way overblown. People, they happen here and there, but they're not this huge like pandemic of scams that everyone acts like they are. Especially, I mean, in my personal experience, maybe other people get scammed more. There's definitely times where if an account looks suspicious, it's a brand new account, I just won't send it. I'll just cancel the order. Doesn't happen very often, but especially on lower price items, is someone really going to scam you for a $2, $3, $5 card, $10 card? Probably not. Once it gets over 20, just send it tracked. Track the package. It's, it shows it got there. So yeah, Pika. I wouldn't be too worried about the TCG Player. It happens a lot less than what you hear. That's what I would tell you. What can I do to make TCG even more attractive in 5 years from now? I was thinking about adding super rare shinies. Yeah, I have no idea. It gets crazier every year with the art. It just gets better and better, in my opinion. So I think Pokemon's on the right path. I think it's awesome. I can't say anything bad about it. I have no idea. I'm not an artist. I don't know where it goes from here. Kyle, is there an awesome Facebook group for Pokemon that allows you to sell there as well? Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Just type in Pokemon on Facebook, on Facebook groups and search for it. I'm involved in a few of them. There's great groups out there. Same thing there. Just watch out for scams, right? Make sure the person, is going to be like up, because I've had people try to scam me. At least I felt like they were trying to scam me, trying to get me to like Venmo them. The Venmo was in a different name, didn't want to use PayPal, wanted me to send it to friends and family and not goods and services. Like there's stuff like that. But most people are pretty honest. Hey, their name's Alex Henry, right? That's my name. And you'll get their Facebook or their PayPal and you'll get their Venmo and it'll be their last name and they'll be the same picture as their profile and, looks all up and up. Send the money. I mean, they send you an invoice for exactly what you're getting. You get the items. I mean, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's very easy, very up and up. What's your opinion on Magic creating the 1-of-1 serialized card? I like it. Look, I'm one of those people that like, I'm not like a player. I'm not one of those people who thinks everything should be plentiful for everyone to have. Like 151 right now. I like the fact that Pokemon Center is printing less of the PCETBs. I like the idea of scarcity in product. I like that. Like I may be, blown up for that. A lot of people might not like that. I enjoy it. I enjoy their premium product out there that not everyone can buy, right? There's enough of that. There'll be booster boxes, there'll be ETBs, there'll be those new deck boxes with 6-packs in them. There'll be 3-pack blisters, there's check lane blisters. There's millions of products out there for everyone to get their hands on the cards. But I like the idea of having a 1-of-1. Now look, if you're a player or a collector, I think the 1-of-1, so that thing with Magic, I'm cool if it's not like a super playable card. Or in Pokemon, I'm cool if it's just like a different artwork, but it's the same like stats. It's got the same attacks, same HP. It's the same as that card is like a playable card that everyone can get their hands on. But it's like a serialized or it's a upper rarity, super hard to pull. Because that way it's for the collectors who actually want an actual rarity attached to it, whether it be in a sealed item or a card, right? Kind of like the stamp promos in the Pokemon Center ETBs, right? It's the same exact card that's in the regular ETBs. It just has a stamp on it to add that extra layer of rarity. I like that. I think Pokemon needs to do that. That's my opinion on it. But yeah, the 1-of-1 ring, I like that stuff. It's cool. Adds that chase factor to it. This period honestly reminds me that the start of 2016, when people were already bored of Generations and the break sets and Fates Collide, just wasn't it back then, and we're just waiting on Evolutions. Yeah, I remember those times. No one wanted to open that stuff. So I sold it all. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore, but I was able to buy every one of those Generations mythical collections with the 2-packs and the promo card. I was able to buy like all of them for $150, I was able to buy all those red and blue collections with all those awesome Pikachu, Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Alt Art type, tag team type promo cards in them with the 4 packs. Those were $20 a box. No one wanted generations. So yeah, that's why when I see things like Paldea Evolve and these things, it's reminiscent. It's just like, yeah, this is how it is when things come out. People they're always on to the next best and greatest thing. And, it's never appreciated until its time has come and gone. And so, yeah, I agree. It is reminiscent. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. What do y'all think about Obsidian Flames? Pokemon Center ETB is already sold out. Do they get a reprint prior to release? I don't know. Scarlet didn't get Violet didn't get a reprint. Paldea hasn't got a reprint. Like I said, this could be the rare product. This could be an actual rare product Pokemon's trying to make with the PC ETBs, and that's fine. You don't need it. Like, people don't need to be everyone doesn't need to get their hands on every product. That's how I feel about it. So I'm a person who I missed out. I didn't get the Obsidian Flame. I missed out on them. And so this is not me pumping it, but I'd be okay if they didn't. I like that aspect of having a rare product, especially in this time when everything's overprinted and they Pokemon does try to print almost to demand so everyone can buy everything. I'm just one of those people. I like rarity. I like the fact that everyone can't buy everything. Do you think Ancient Origins is a good investment considering how easy it is to get a PSA 10 from the cards? Man, it's so weird that you just said Ancient Origins, because I'm not going to show you the cards, but I have people who I talk to about plays. They know I just bought certain plays from Ancient Origins in quantity to grade, because yeah, there is there's definitely some opportunities in Ancient Origins, and it doesn't necessarily mean the biggest hits in the set. So that's all I'm gonna say. There's cards out there in Ancient Origins that you can make plays on right now. So yeah, I do like Ancient Origins as an investment right now for certain cards. That's really funny. You ask, like, Ancient Origins, it's such a random set, some random set in the middle of XY, and you called out Ancient Origins right now. That's strange. That's trippy. That's a little trippy. That's funny. That's the perspective of OG collectors. If you ask 15-year-olds how they feel about new legendaries, they love them. Maybe they do. Yeah, Miltank's uncle, maybe they do. You're right. We could just be boomers at this point. I don't know. I feel like, we're all our brains are warped, but I feel like I try to go in with an open mind. Like, I went into an open mind playing the game, playing Violet, the first game I played in 10 years or more. And I loved it. I loved the game. I liked a lot of the Pokemon. It's just, I don't know. When I compare them, and again, maybe it's just my bias. I just feel like they're a little lackluster compared to others. But like they're starters. Like, they're starters that I think are great. Like the Evolve form of starters that I don't think they're like lesser than like some of the Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 starters. But it's just, I don't know. I just get that feeling that they didn't give them like the power that old legendaries had. Just me. Could just be me. Like you said, we could be speed boomers at this point. We don't see it. Opinions on grading. BGS, PSA, CGC. I'm a PSA guy. That's just how I am. I don't go BGS or CGC. I think CGC is it was always, in my opinion, just for buying to crack the 8.5s or 9.5s to put them in a PSA 9 or PSA 10 slab. They're, to my dismay, I've asked about it in certain groups, and a lot of people, unless they're lying to me, say they like CGC. Now, it's still a very small portion of the market in Pokemon that buys CGC or BGS over PSA. PSA is overwhelmingly the highest grading service. Like, they grade, like, someone posted numbers. They grade like 1 million cards for the every like 50,000 or 60,000 that BGS or CGC grades. So it's not even close. The liquidity and the value always goes to PSA. Now, if you're looking to get Black Label or a pristine, then yeah, you can try to grade. But if you're anything lesser, if you're anything less than a Black Label or pristine, PSA is going to dominate BGS or CGC 9s or 8s or 7s, just the way it is. And then me, I'm just biased. I like PSA, just what I've collected all my cards in. I just like it better. So that's just me being biased. But you know, if you got cards that are perfect or near perfect, go for that pristine 10 in CGC or BGS. I don't know how this whole 9.5 thing is going to screw the CGC 10s, if it's going to hurt the value. But yeah, BGS, like perfect, a pristine 10, black label 10, go for it. Anything lesser than that, I stick with PSA. Just because, like, even if you're just a collector, you still want to have the best bang for your buck to get the best value out of your money. And that's going to be in PSA, because the PSA cards are just worth more. It's the way it is. It's what the market. That's what the market has decided up till now. I think 151 will be a worthy investment if you're lucky enough to grab enough product. If you're lucky enough to grab enough product at the right prices, right? We don't know. Could 151 come out of the gate and skyrocket and be $120 in ETB? Might not be a good investment then, right? I mean, it's always price point. We always have to see what the price points come in at. That's why I'm kind of holding off on the UPCs. I don't know. Could it be another celebrations type thing where there's not enough to go around? Maybe. Or could it be more of a Charizard UPC thing, which I personally don't think it's going to be, but could it end up being a Charizard UPC scenario where there's just so much and it takes a long time for them to sell out? My personal opinion, I think it's going to be somewhere between Charizard and celebrations. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as overprinted or, you know, stay on the market as long as the Charizards have. But if you're asking me, is it going to be a celebrations type thing where it sells out and it's $200 like immediately? No, I can't see it happen. I cannot see Pokemon letting that happen again. Oh my gosh, I'm this far. I am this far behind. I remember talking about Shin Pao and what it was. It's the Snow Leopard. Yeah. Okay. So that card is awesome. I agree with that. I like that. And I also like the other one with, like, I'm not even going to try to describe it. I don't even know what you would even call it. But like I said, there's a couple of them I like, but like the fish, I don't get it. I don't get the fish. It's not cool to me. But like I said, maybe in Chinese culture, like I know, you know, like koi and all that, it's like whatever, you know. So I don't really know like a lot of you know, Eastern cultures, but you know, so some of those things might mean more to like those collectors than they mean to us. But yeah, I agree. The Snow Leopard's awesome. I do agree with that. Like, again, I'm not trying to hate on the new stuff. I'm open-minded. I try to like it. I promise you. What was the reason for Evolving Skies to the Moon so much and hold value very? It's a recent set and printed very much. Nub, you might want to just go look at all the cards in the set. It kind of says it all. I mean, it's in my opinion, one of the best sets ever printed. I mean, when you look at the vastness of the cards that you can pull in one set, I mean, if you go back to like XY, the amount of cards, the amount of hits in that set, you probably split up over 3 to 4 sets back then. I mean, that'd be like taking the hits from like Phantom Forces, Breakthrough, and Fates Collide and throwing them all in one set almost. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's just it's an awesome set. There's a lot of awesome cards to pull. The Moon Brand had something to do with it too, you know, obviously. Mass-produced products aren't rare. Set cards aren't rare. Mr. Walrus, you've been listening to too much SM Pratt. Get off his channel. No, that's one of the things like SM Pratt would always say back in the day when I used to listen to him. When he would always try to pump his, you know, trophy cards and Japanese exclusive promo cards and the world promos or things like that. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. You know, when it all depends on your definition of rare, right? You know, Pokemon puts a star at the bottom of a card to say it's a rare, and then a diamond's an uncommon and a circle is a common. So from that perspective, everything with a star is rare, right? I mean, obviously I don't believe that, but my point is that when I was watching Darium's Pokemon, here's a throwback to anyone who remembers Darium's Pokemon. They sold their channel and started a new channel, but it sticks in my head because it was back on it was after XY where there was nothing like this kind of rarity in XY, but they did 1,000 pack opening of Burning Shadows and pulled one Charizard Rainbow Rare. And then that card, I think they graded a 9. And so out of 1,000 packs, you got one of the cards you wanted. And fast forward to now, the alt arts are even more rare than the rainbow rares were. And so when you can open 1,000+ packs, now thousands of packs, and still not pull the card you want, or maybe pull one of that card, that's rare. Like, I don't know how you can say that's not rare. Like, I get there's a lot of them, right? There's thousands of them, but there's millions of packs opened to get those few thousand. So I hold on to that's rare. Like, just because it's not a 1 of 100 in the world or 1 of 1,000 in the world, like, there's different levels of rarity, but it's hard to say that those cards are not rare, in my opinion. That's where I come from with it. So I just have a differencing of opinion with a lot of people. You know, it's nothing new, right? It should be nothing new from my time here on YouTube. Obviously, I have a lot different way of looking at things than a lot of people, and that's all right. It's all right. People need cards for the game, so they get used naturally and they'll never hit zero. They aren't just for collectibles like Beanie Babies. Yeah, yes and no, but you know, what would happen when those cards go out of rotation? Then they go to zero? I guess not. It's not just because of the game, right? Older set cards are rare. Did Jen? It's actually the exact opposite, to be honest with you. Like, not to disagree with you, man, but going back to like early WotC, those sets are those cards are not rare at all. I mean, you could open 2 boxes and have the whole set of base set basically. They were a hollow every 3 packs, and they printed them off in sheets to where, you know, basically a base set Charizard's not rare. I mean, when you get into like Neo, you could say the triple rare shinies, like Shinings, they're rare. Gold stars are rare. Like, you start getting to real rarity, but yeah, they're actually not, believe it or not. So like the older cards, they're scarce because, you know, there's less of it out there than's printed now, but they're not rare. Not at all. So guys, rarity versus scarcity, right? Rarity is how hard something is to actually get, right? Like how many of it. So it's like how many are in existence in the whole world and how hard it is to achieve and get those. There was scarcity. It's, you know, how hard it is to find on the market. How many PSA 10s of a certain card are out there, or, you know, condition rarity. You talk about PSA 10s, like a PSA 10 copy of a card that's not really rare could make it rare. It's kind of, I know I'm not explaining it well. Let me try to explain it. So a base set Charizard is not inherently rare. If you open 2 boxes, out of the same case, you're going to open 1. You're going to pull 1, 2, maybe even 3 or 4. They're not that rare, but to find them in a PSA 10 quality, that's rare. The condition rarity is rare. Now, scarcity has to do with how many are available. And this is where kind of like sealed product comes up. Everyone's going to say every sealed product isn't rare because there were millions printed. Agreed. However, the scarcity, how many are available on the market at any given time, makes the prices go up because they get fewer and fewer over time, which makes them valuable. And so scarcity and rarity are 2 different things and 2 different ways that are created value in the Pokemon hobby. And so that's something to think about. Do you think Scarlet era will be like EX Ruby era someday? It's what do you mean by that? Leonidas, I don't know what awesome name, by the way. Leonidas, that's awesome. I don't know what you mean by that. Like Scarlet and Ruby, that's during the real downtimes of Pokemon. Much lower printed product, way less demand. So with you're really dealing with scarcity, where we're never going to have anywhere near the level of scarcity in Scarlet and Violet, just the way it is now. But Scarlet Violet cards could end up outperforming EX Ruby products because they are actually rare. They're hard to pull, and enough people might continue to want these because so many people are continuing to pour in the hobby, especially with 151. So it could propel them farther. It really just depends on what your view is, right? You have people on the vintage, mindset where they think that people are going to eventually go back to, vintage and collect that. Or you have people on my mindset where the eras with the most demand and most popularities are going to continue to outperform vintage. It's really what you think. Everyone has to make that decision for themselves when they come to collecting and investing. Miltank's uncle. There's a lot more hate from the younger generations on old gens compared to kids loving everything in Scarlet and Violet. The Pokemon suck. Yeah, no, I know. The kids like the new stuff, and I think that's why the new stuff is gonna be propelled even further in value as the future goes on, and it's gonna be a lot harder for vintage to grow. Just the way it is. I know people hate hearing it, but that's what I believe. I still hold true to that. How do you feel about One Piece? I get this question every single live. Alex, sorry, man. I don't know. I don't know anything about One Piece. I'm very little about it. I'm buying a little bit of every set just to kind of have my foot in the game, just in case it does end up being a major player in the TCGs in the future, like it is now right now. And so I'm just kind of just hedging, right? Just hedging. I don't want. It's one of those things I don't want to miss out on. I don't know much about it though. I couldn't give you like an in-depth market analysis of it. I'm sorry. The PC ETBs keep looking more identical to the regular ETBs, and 151 is the most identical box yet. Is there an issue at all? I picked up PC ETB, of course. Is that an issue? You know what? I don't think the demand is based on the art on the box. It's based on the value of that promo, that stamp promo inside. People like rarity. They like stuff that not everyone has. That's why those PC promos are going well, because there's a limited amount of those PC ETBs printed. That's my understanding of the subject. Mass-produced products are not rare regardless of age. Pokemon Classics, rarity versus scarcity. Yeah, I think we just went through all that. So absolutely. Rarity versus scarcity. Cameron, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my man. I got him the peak at 2020. I hope you didn't throw too much money in at the peak. I really do. Mr. Walrus, let me know how many PSA 10s first edition base Charizards you have. Right? Exactly. I got 0. That is the one card. I have the complete set of first edition Pokemon of base set first edition PSA 9s. The complete set. All 103 of 102 Pokemon besides Charizard. So I'm still looking for a Charizard at a reasonable price. I get it's so hard to come by. I mean, now it's not hard to come by if you're willing to pay 20-something grand. You can go buy it off the market right now. But at a reasonable price, it's hard to ever find one. Let's see. Walrus and Digiang going back and forth. Confused as ever. If money is the only barrier of entry to get a card, it's not rare. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Money can't be the only barrier. But Mr. Walrus, like scarcity could play a factor in that. Like if there's only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the entire market worldwide, because it's so scarce, that could be what has the value, which makes the prices so high because everyone knows what they have. They don't want to let it go, even though there may be a ton out there. They could just be in personal collections. They could just, maybe people aren't paying attention to the market that have them in their possession or haven't taken the time and energy to list it. There could be a million scenarios, but yeah, the market's a funny thing. Market is a funny thing. How is everyone not getting tired of all these Charizards? We are getting them in each set now. Almost it's silly. I've always said that. And I've learned this lesson the hard way. You can't bet against Charizard. There's just enough Charizard fanboys and fangirls out there. It somehow always does well, but I'm with you. I wish, I wish more of the other Gen 1, Gen 2, and even Gen 3 Pokemon got featured more often, the popular ones, but it just always comes back to Charizard, doesn't it? Pokemon knows what they have to do to sell a set, and they do it. I forget the channel I'm in sometimes, and that arguing is pointless. It's better to troll. Come on, Mr. Walrus. You can have intelligent conversation here. It's welcome. This isn't all a meme channel. Are you impressed with the new 151 packs? What does that mean? Impressed with like the artwork on them? Impressed with the pulls that they're getting? I don't know. Just I think Pokemon did exactly what they needed to do. It still is missing some things. Like I wish it had. I wish it had all of the trainers. Like I wish it had all the original gym leaders and the trainers, like the main trainers of the show, as full art, trainer cards. Which it doesn't, which I'm a little unhappy about. And then other than that, I like all the. Oh, and I wish some different Pokemon were featured as special illustrator and illustrator rares. Some of them did not make sense to me. Why they like Tangela didn't make sense. Why they featured a Tangela and some other ones. But other than that, I think it's going to do well. There's always going to be something I don't like in every set. I've come to terms with that. Pokemon's never going to like do everything perfect, in my opinion. But they did enough. I think they did enough. What do we got? I'm trying to make my way through this chat. You guys are wild. 140 people in here. Crazy. Middle of the day. No one works. I love it. What's the next trend after tag teams, Alex? Where's Pokemon Gym Hero? He always gives me crap for it. But XY secret rare, XY promos. Some of those are like some of the first cards to feature more than one Pokemon in the art. So you can call them tag teams or alt arts, whatever you want to call them. But I like those. And then I don't know. I think alt arts are going to find a bottoming eventually as Scarlet and Violet continues to march on and gets more in the middle era of Scarlet and Violet. And Sword and Shield, after all the reprints are kind of quote unquote confirmed they're not coming, I think alt arts are going to have their time to shine eventually. So that's what I would say. After tag teams, I would say alt arts and some XY secret rares and promos, with like multiple Pokemon in them. I think those are going to continue to do well. And by the way, yes, I do own a lot of X and Y cards, but I do not own a lot of alt arts. So I'm not just pumping my own cards. There's cards that I'm saying that could go up or products that could go up that I don't currently own, just because that's just, I always say how I actually feel. I'm not trying to pump anything on this channel. It's just what I see. And I share with you what I see. I make a lot of the same plays that I share. And, we all either are right or wrong together. Right now, we've been right an awful lot with this modern, the way I see modern. I think we're going to continue to be right. Eventually, maybe people like Pokemon Classics or other people who love vintage, they might have their time to shine in the future. I don't see it, but hey, I could always be wrong. I could always be wrong and eat my words. Illogic can't be debated. Mr. Walrus. Always trying to start stuff. Always. Bro, my XY collection is cheddar. Sell me all your XY secret rare PSA 10s. That's what I'm saying. XY is so slept on. It's got the only silver card in the whole hobby. The silver Dialga in Phantom Forces. There's never been another silver card printed. A lot of gold cards, no silvers. If that card was not Dialga, if that was like a super popular Pokemon, anything, if that would have been like a silver Lugia, that thing would be so astronomically priced, it would be insane. But it was that Dialga, but still, it's the only silver card. That secret rare Alakazam that I've talked about, it's got Umbreon and Lugia in the artwork with it. I mean, that's just the gold. You got those secret rare Mewtwo's with other Pokemon in them. You got, there's awesome cards in XY. I'm not going to talk about XY. Gyarados, but yeah, I'm a big believer in those XY cards. The reason is because XY was before the gigantic boom in printing in Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield. So it's considered modern because it's still in this quote unquote modern age, like Evolutions, Pokemon Go. But the amount of cards printed and the pop reports and the amount of boxes available are far less than what we see in Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, and Scarlet and Violet. That's why I believe in it. Don, nice to see you here. I know you already purchased some packs for the pack break, man. Congrats on that. And thanks for being a channel member. I appreciate it. Let's see. Trying to find some good questions or, things people put in the chat. Here we go. Pokemon Classics. Are you familiar with the bullwhip effect? And do you think Pokemon is susceptible to it in the current era? Yeah, I know what you're talking about with the bullwhip effect. Wait. Hold on a second. Chat disconnected. Please wait while we reconnect you. Successfully connected. I don't know what that means. YouTube, I guess, lost the chat at some point. The bullwhip effect so Pokemon Classics, I know the classics never go out of style, but I just think Pokemon continues to do so much with doing a good job with getting new collectors in the hobby. And so they did it when I got in with Evolutions of Pokemon Go. They did it with, like anything in Sun and Moon, Hidden Fates. They did it with, obviously Logan Paul and all that played a huge effect. They did it again with like Evolving Skies. That Moonbrand got a ton of people back in the hobby because of like the TikTok and Instagram and all those reels. Then they're doing it again right now with 151. And they're going to keep doing that. And the thing is, every time people come into the hobby, they're much more likely to connect with a lot of not as many as the XY cards but some of the secret rares and full arts. They're connect with all of the Sun and Moon cards, and it's a lot more. They're a lot more relevant with those than going back to chase like the old hollows and the old thing. I just don't see enough people wanting to bring the kind of slingshot the vintage market back up because it's just not. Trying to find the right words. It just isn't inherently wanted by people. It's the best way to put it. People just. The new collectors, even me, I don't really want I'm fully invested in buying like the newer cards. I like the newer art. Even if everything was the same price, a lot of these newer cards are just they're more fun to collect than going back and buying a Jungle Jiggly or Jungle Wigglytuff Hollow, right? It's the way it is. It's the new market. It's the new era. I don't know. Pokemon Classics, man. I'm pulling for you, though. I know you want your classics to come back. And I'm not against you. I got some classics as well. It's just if you're asking me what I truly believe deep down, I think Modern's got the legs. I don't think it's going anywhere. So, Alexander, I'm having trouble between collecting and flipping. To keep finding my collecting, like the PSA 10 Wailord, Magikarp tag teams, what do I do? Okay, so what I did is when I got back in the hobby, I started collecting all the old stuff. I first bought my old sets and I bought, sealed product, and I started opening a bunch of packs to relive the old days. But eventually what I got into, which a lot of people do, is just flip enough to fund your collection, right? Use your flipping profits to buy collection pieces completely without your, any of your own hard-earned money, just flipping profits. And that way it makes it easier to hold on to because you know that you have a zero risk in those products, right? And that it makes it easier. But yeah, if cards reach a certain level, I don't have an answer for you because I sold out my entire collection, right? I mean, I sold everything basically because things hit a certain price that I couldn't say no to. So I don't know what to do when things like a PSA 10 Magikarp Wailord hit a certain price, because what I did is I sold. So you might want to ask someone who I guess is a better collector than I am and has more diamond hands because I've been a flipper, I've been a collector, I've been an investor. I think it's good to do a kind of a fusion of all of those, but it's very hard when items reach a certain level to not let go of your investment or let go of your collection. So I don't have a good answer for you. Serialized cards will never come to Pokemon. Investors can't count for it to matter. Never say never, Mr. Walrus. Never say never. Never say never on that. How do you value your items? Do you use the lowest buy it now? latest buy it and now sold, latest sold at auction prices. I am trying at XY full arts at 10s, especially the older ones are crazy prices. Okay, Kurt. So when you're buying into, all right, I'm going to take a second on this question. When you're buying into markets that have already seen upticks, especially like some XY cards, especially Sun and Moon tag teams, and they've had recent upticks, it's very hard to value them because you don't know if they're overvalued. You don't know if it's going to have a price drop. You don't know if they were undervalued and now they're properly valued. You don't know. And so it's very hard to gauge. I would definitely, what I would do is scroll back as far as eBay will let you go. You can use pokidata.io. Pokidata.io is the website. And you can go look at what things were selling for on there. I think it goes back to 2016 on the graphs. Go look at what they were selling for recently, like before the last few months. Get an idea of where that card has always been valued at. And then you just have to make a decision for yourself if you truly see it continue to go. Now, me, I'm always cautious because you could be wrong, right? It could have that effect where it comes back down and you could, be sitting on dead money. You could lose money. But one thing a lot of XY cards have going for them is they have very low pop reports, 100, less than 100, 200, 300, 400 PSA 10 pop reports. So it takes very little portion, like less than 1% of the hobby to want that card for it to continue to keep the price and stay where it's at. And so that's what it has going for it. What I do when I'm trying to value items is I do a portion of that. I do look at what's on the market. Being in the US, I don't look at Australian, UK, Japanese, any other listings. I look at what they're listed for in the US because even if things are listed for less in other countries, people will overpay if they're in the US or Canada just because they don't want to wait for it to ship, worry about if it's going to have import charges, whatever it may do. They just want to buy from US sellers, which for better or worse. So I definitely look at what things are selling for in the US. And then another thing is you have to understand your labels, right? PSA newer labels are more sought after than older labels. And so an old PSA 10, like a 0 through 200 or 0 through 2 million certs, those will be less sought after than the newer certs. Like I forget when they changed it, somewhere around 4 million and up. The newer certs are more sought after. So those are worth more, meaning you can list, if you have a 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million cert, you can actually list it higher than what a 2 million cert is listed at. And people will buy that before they buy the lower one. People can always buy a lower or a 2 million cert, send it in a PSA and they'll reholder it for you. It'll still have the same cert number, but you can get it in the new case, which people like because then they all fit together correctly. They all look the same on the shelf. They have the QR code on the back. So that's always an option, but yeah, those are things you need to take into account. So yeah, if I'm wanting to sell a card, I usually try to be around the buy it now lowest, as long as it's the lowest of the new certs. And if I'm trying to buy, I definitely take a look at what they've been selling for, what I could buy it raw for. Does it make sense to try to source it raw? How hard is it to source a card raw in XY? It's very difficult to find any 9 or 10 candidates left in the market. So it might make sense to buy it, just buy the grade. And then, like I said, use those old charting data, like on pokidata.io, to see if it's had a giant run up lately, or if it's just kind of what it's been at for the past, 6 months, a year. And that will give you an idea if it's a fair price, a fair market price. Hope that helps. Nostalgianomics, what do you think about Lost Origin booster boxes in the next year? Lost Origin, gotta wait for the reprint. Don't know. Gotta wait for reprint. When the reprint comes, how many are available? How much that crashes things? I don't know. I have no idea on that. No clue. Not even going to try to make a guess on that. We can talk about that at a later date when those reprints comes and we see what the prices drop to, and what distributors are selling it to stores for, and how much supply it comes on the market. Let's see. I see a lot of you guys talking about how rare Cosmic Eclipse is. I got a box. We have a box that you can participate in a box opening on. Nostalgianomics.com. You can buy packs for the pack break. A lot of awesome cards you can pull. Got to throw those promos in there. Let's see. So I agree. Ball Player 12, Mr. Walrus says, Cosmic is super rare. They've been saying first that base is rare. and those aren't ripped consistently. I'm sure at last gen set is in short supply too. Yeah, so first ed base is rare just because the cards inside aren't rare to pull out of the packs, right? So if like you were to open, you know, a booster box of first edition base, the hollows aren't rare to pull, but first edition base was so low printed. It was released as a true first edition set. So yeah, inherently the boxes, the cards, everything in that are rare. But now first edition unlimited base, not rare. Not rare at all. So here we go. Perfect example. Triumph. I only started investing a few weeks ago. I'm super happy and excited about Pokemon Market, and I'm glad I found it. This is what I'm saying. Every day, every year, people consistently find the market. They find their way somehow to this part of YouTube. Happy you found the channel, Triumph, and they're starting to collect. And then you know whatever market prices are set at that point, that's the market price. And so they don't have all this head trash, right? That's what I call it, the head trash. We have all this head trash in our heads, those of us who have been around, and we remember what old prices were. So we can never even begin to, you know, make ourselves pay the new prices, but the new people can. And it's just like me, right? Knowing that base set booster boxes were $2,000. And then people came in the market when they were $4 and said, oh, they were $4. That's the lowest in the market. That's what they've been selling for. That's a fair price. And guess what? It wasn't manipulated. It wasn't, you know, we could say when the base set booster boxes got to $30,000, they were manipulated, but $4,000, it wasn't manipulated. It was organic interest pouring into the hobby at a high enough rate to where they value the boxes at $4,000, and it made sense. There was nothing wrong with that. And that's what consistently happens with new collectors. When you see these price of boxes and cards rise over time, there's nothing inherently wrong. There's no manipulation. There's no price fixing. There's no buyouts. It's organic demand. It's new collectors coming in the hobby, buying things that they want to collect and want to invest in. It's just the normal ebbs and flow of things. It doesn't have to be some gigantic conspiracy all the time. I see Retro enter the chat. I don't know how long ago, but I'm starting to see comments. Anxious to see what Retro's got to say about all this. Those of you who don't know what Retro Specs is, he is a flipper. That's it. I mean, you know, night and day, you know, no matter what, he flips everything, does not hold anything. So we're polar opposites, but we're friends. I like Retro. I love his perspective. Just another, you know, situation where you can actually be cool with someone, be friends, and see things completely opposite, right? So, I mean, that's why I'm saying that's why this community is so great. You can enjoy it so many different ways. You can be successful in it so many different ways. Awesome to see. John, I think a great entry into collecting if you are new in XY Evolutions, it's pretty challenging and it's worthwhile hunt for singles to a complete set. Don't get me started on XY Evolutions. I don't even I get why the boxes are so much, right? Because sealed product. But you know, that's one of the most loved to be open sets. But man, those singles and those cards are they're everywhere. I mean, all those pop reports are tens of thousands. I don't know how those cards got pumped as much as they have. That's one of those scenarios where I don't know if those are going to hold, if that's organic, that there's enough organic demand there, or if it's being manipulated. Maybe it is. Maybe it is enough organic demand. I don't know. Again, head trash. I've opened more Evolutions product than any product I've ever opened in my entire life. I've probably opened 50 boxes of Evolutions. You heard that right, 50. I used to crack cases of Evolutions and grade the cards and just for fun. And so for me, and I completed probably 10 complete master sets of Evolutions that I sold on the market back in the day. And so for me, it doesn't make sense because I had so much of it. But for others, now it's scarce. Now it might make sense. I don't know. TT, you're going to be the first person banned from my channel saying Evolutions is trash. All right, here we go. Mr. Walrus. Guys, let me tell you about a scam I did on this one guy. Years ago, I bought a car on eBay and told him I never received it. Oh, man. Am I that far behind in the chat? Guys, I got to skip down. I got to get going on this chat because I remember talking about that a long time ago. Here's this question. Stop sign. When someone wants to trade raw ungraded cards for already graded cards, how does everyone calculate a price on trade value? That's impossible. If they're in person, you can inspect them. You can value them higher than near mint pricing. But other than that, I mean, I would say near mint pricing. TCG Player, eBay, last solds. I don't know. Let's see. People talking about scammers. Yeah, scammers. I'm gonna try and skip some of these. Sorry if I skip your comment. I'm trying to work down to the in the chat because I know I'm really far behind. All right, Ben. I am skipping 151 for now. I thought you were saying you were skipping 151. Looking into Crown Zenith clearance boxes, absolutely. Crown Zenith's a great set. I think it's very undervalued. Getting vibes of when everyone jumped on Celebrations and forgot about Evolving Skies. Absolutely. I've also been buying Crown Zenith, so I'm on that play with you. The farther we get removed from it, the less and less going to be available. I think Crown Zenith is going to surprise people in the months and years to come. Absolutely. I'm with you on that. How do you feel about CGC switching labels? Are people overreacting? No, I don't think they are. I think it's a net negative for the hobby. And I'm not trying to like be a doom and gloom type guy. I'm not that guy. I'm just being honest. Anytime you can, have so what they're basically saying is their graders screwed up for all these years, right? If they're going to call 9.5s 10s, then that means one, you're devaluing every 10 that came before it. Every one of those 10s that wasn't a pristine, like whatever the top one is. I don't even know CGC's labels. I don't even care about it. But you're devaluing everything you gave a 10 because the 9.5s are now 10s. That's a terrible system. There's plays to be made. No idea how the market's going to react. I'm not smart enough, way above my pay grade. Is the play of the century buying every 9.5 you can, sending it in to get reholders at 10, and then flipping it on the market as a 10? I don't know. Is the market going to get wise to this and understand that, hey, all these 10s now are undervalued. Anyone holding a 10, it's not valued as much. It might be one of those things where you need to, you might send your 10s in to get regraded by PSA or Beckett and try to get a pristine Beckett or get a PSA 10, because I'm not bullish on holding CGC 10s at this point. Maybe there's a play there for sending 9.5s, but I'm not touching it. That's where I'm at. I'm from Sweden. Welcome from Sweden, Anton. I like to collect and invest in modern sealed. Problem is you can't really get booster boxes here for below 140. Thoughts? My thoughts would be, what does the secondary market look like there? I mean, if no one from Sweden can get boxes for less than 140, does that mean that's the floor there? It'd be like saying, whatever market across the world, your market's going to be your own, right? So if 140 is the going rate, then it seems like, and you can't get any boxes from here shipped in any cheaper, right? If you can get $100 box here, but it's 40 by the time it gets there after, fees and shipping and import charges, then if 140 is the floor, then you should be able to sell boxes, I'm guessing, for 140 on the Sweden market. Am I right? And so if that's the truth, then, it's unfortunate your price point's higher, but it's the same as getting in, at $100 a box here is what I would think. So that's what I would think. Again, not an expert on foreign markets and how everything works. I wish I had more info than that for you. A lot of people talking about like the 151 and people, like Woo-Bee, they always get a reprint on release day. I don't know. We'll see. All I'm saying, Violet sold out. Paldea Evolved, BCTB sold out. We'll see with Obsidian Flames and 151. I think Pokemon is attempting to make the PC ETBs a scarce item. We'll see. I could be wrong, but I really think that they're not going to overly print those like they used to back with like the Sword and Shield ones, especially with what we've seen with like Brilliant Stars, right? It was on the market forever. I think it's still there with the PC ETBs. So it could be a change, right? They could make all the mass-produced product for the masses, and that could be just a niche product where it's for the collectors, and it's going to be a rare product. We don't know. We don't know. I'm with you on that, Dylan. PSA is the master. Some people in groups don't agree with me on that, but the market kind of says it all. You can't go against the market. That's where that whole collect what you like doesn't work, is because you need to collect what you like, kind of as long as it's what the majority of the market likes, right? I know there's riches in the niches, but there's a lot of illiquidity in the niches as well. Remember that. Pika, dropping some wisdom here. Be selective in buying sets. Just because an item is or isn't popular doesn't mean it'll perform well over time. Example, Evolving Skies and Evolutions were printed to the ground. Consider many factors. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dylan comes back with that and says, I buy every set and diversify. I do too, Dylan. I like to think I have some level of knowledge. I mean, I'm just an idiot who buys, cardboard and plastic. But I like to think I have some sort of knowledge in the industry at this point. And I still diversify by every case of every set. But I do also load up on certain sets. I'll buy multiple cases of certain sets that I feel there's it's going to be a lot more demand and they're going to do a lot better. Or the set's good. But yeah, even I'm not smart enough sometimes. Even I get it wrong. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just there's the same reason people buy mutual funds when they invest in the stock market, because they don't want to get burned on single stocks. Same thing. Pretty sure, so monotone cards, pretty sure he means if rarity is gate kept by how big your wallet is, then it's not really rare. You can just buy it. It's a good point. I like it. Let's see. Working my way down. What do you guys got down here? Hey, Northwood stopped by. What's going on, man? Long time no talk. Thanks for stopping by the live. Glad to see your channel's doing good. Your thumbnails, man. Your thumbnails lately are fantastic. I need to get with you, and I don't know if you're doing those or you got a thumbnail guy, but they have been looking nice. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the silence. I'm just going through these comments, trying to find something to pick out. Triumph. Any wild speculation on what could cause another boom? Not that we need one. Just curious who or what it could take for its certainty, not impossible history could repeat itself. Well, I think we're having another boom in Japan right now. We're having a sort of like initiation boom into Chinese markets. So it's possible that a lot of that demand could shift back to the US, and kind of the worldwide could, like, eventually the US could the US cards, English cards could become, like, I keep saying US, but English cards could become more sought after again, and then that all that popularity gets shift, and that I can see that being another catalyst. I can see that a very real possibility of that. There's other things like that. 151 is going to cause a pretty major boom. But man, to catch lightning in a bottle like we did with the pandemic, it's going to be difficult. There'll be other booms, but it's going to be difficult to see one on that level again. That's all I'm going to say about that. Brandon, what do you think almost all sleeve Sword and Shield packs on the PC are sold out? Why do you think? Didn't know that. I don't know. It's a good question, because I'm trying to think, like, some of those sets sleeve packs on, like, the open market right now can't be more than retail, like on TCG Player, can they? Maybe they are. I'd have to do research on that. I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't paid attention to the sleeve packs. That's really interesting to hear, though. Might be saying something. Might be getting ready for a Sword and Shield breakout in the boxes. Bulbasaur, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry for hating on Tangela. My bad. My bad. Justin Durr, what's up, man? You're always showing up. Appreciate it. Don, listen to Alex. My Magmas, Groudons, and Pikachu promos are making money. Yeah, they sure are. All right, Northwoods, how do you feel Evolving Skies and Moonbryon will hold its value and continue up, or do you think it could tumble in price? One is going to depend on a reprint. So let's answer this question as in no reprint comes. Okay. If no reprint comes, the boxes are definitely going to keep going. Absolutely. No way. I mean, in my mind, there's no way those are going to tumble. It's the best set in the era. It's the best set. It's one of the best sets ever printed, in my opinion. So if it's not reprinted, it's going to keep going up. The Moonbryons, here's the thing. Those boxes are so expensive already that they're less and less are getting opened. Now, and the Moonbryon's really hard to pull. Could Moonbryon see a retrace? Sure. It could see a retrace. As the newer cards come out in 151, people want newer things. The demand could start to fall, and so the liquidity could get less. But a retrace is not a tumble. I don't think it's going to crash anywhere near 30, 40, 50%. Could we see pullbacks? Of course. There's nothing goes straight up. There always needs to be pullbacks before the next run. So yeah, there could be a pullback, but if no reprints come, Evolving Skies boxes and packs continue to rise, Moonbryon will probably follow suit. Moonbryon's in a different, it'd be more like if you ask me about a different card, like one of the other evolutions or one of the other hits in that set, that would have a better chance of seeing a tumble than the Moonbryon. Moonbryon's in a league of its own. It's almost like a base set Charizard at this point. Everyone's saying what's up in Northwoods, showing some love. I already answered this. The opinions on BGS, PSA, and CGC. PSA all the way. PSA all the way, unless you want to try and hit the black label lottery at BGS. That's what I think about that. Pokemon is addictive. I quit smoking and drinking soda, but I can't quit Pokemon. Right there. That's why you should be bullish on Pokemon right there. It's more addictive than nicotine and alcohol. Or sorry, not alcohol, soda. Soda is in some way as addicting as alcohol. But that's the perfect example. People will continue to buy what they want over what they need or what may be best for their lives at some times. All right, Pokemon Classics. Modern, it's a question about supply dynamics of current retail releases. You're more in tune, was hoping for your perspective. You are more in tune, was hoping for your perspective. About the supply dynamics of the current releases. Yeah, so what do you mean about the how every set comes out and skyrockets and then plummets and then over time rises? Maybe I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Pokemon Classics. You'll have to educate me a little bit more on what you are on what you're wanting. I wasn't comparing it from modern to vintage. I was just saying that vintage isn't seeing those kind of, I guess, slingshot effect up the way that modern cards do. Because as the modern supply dwindles, after they're released, after things, kind of start to sell out, after all the cards plateau and stagnate at their lows, they do see a lot harder kind of snapbacks than the vintage cards are seeing after their giant drop after the boom. So let me see what your other question. Yeah, I think I did misunderstand your question. So I wasn't trying to make it a modern versus vintage. I was just trying to explain why modern, sees a lot better, I guess, retrace back up than other parts of the hobby. Yeah, I'm trying to think in my head while I'm talking and it's not working out. Yeah, Pokemon Classics, leave another comment. Explain exactly what you're wanting me to touch on. It might help more. God, a lot of people are asking the PSA, BGS, CGC thing. I guess I was behind. Super thankful. Pokemon Classics, and tonight I sit down with Old School. Oh, really? Northwoods, Pokemon Classics, and Old School are all having it live tonight. Awesome. I'll have to, hopefully I'll be able to tune into that live. That should be a good one. Every PSA card that I own has a cert 1 of 1. Use that in your listings for unlimited money, friends, right? Every cert's a 1 of 1. I like it. No Berto. I think that's the problem with Modern. Hype drives the prices. Then a reprint confuses the market. I guess if you're new to Pokemon, it could confuse you, but it's just part of it, right? It's just part of it. There's all kinds of ups and downs and market noise in the first 2 years. But after the first 2 to 3 years, it's usually pretty consistent. You know, product continues to sell out. Prices can start to move up because the product becomes more scarce. As the prices rise, people get that FOMO effect. They don't want to miss out. They want to get in before it goes up anymore, which buys the market out more and drives the prices higher. And then it creates a new floor. It's just kind of the normal ebbs and flows of things. Also, as product ages and becomes more scarce, people want to go back and open the older stuff. And as you want to do that, it creates more demand. And it's kind of just a self-fulfilling prophecy of that stuff. Chitch, how do you feel about the older EX cars from Black and White and XY? I still feel they are undervalued, and I still feel a potential to grow like tag team cars in the future. You're speaking my language. You're singing my song. I think XY cars are very undervalued. Black and White too. Black and White was the first full arts. If you didn't know that, Black and White was when they started full art cards. So that's kind of a big deal. And then XY is so great because the majority of the sets are all focused around Gen 1 or Gen 2 Pokemon. Like all the hits are, which are some of the most popular Pokemon in all of the whole, IP. And so that's why I think they're going to be so sought after, as well as being scarce, low pops, hard to find. Value go down or population go up, Mr. Walrus. He says populations are going up, but value is not. Maybe. So Walrus has been going back and forth with we. It's the irony of people who talk pop reports. They only go up, but reference it at its set in stone. No, it's not set in stone, especially with like the brand new stuff. But like when you start looking at older, sets where the packs and the boxes are so expensive that they get opened so very, barely ever opened. I mean, some box openers, some streamers, but very rarely they open those cards. So, and then when they do get opened, it's very rare they pull those hits. And so they move up at such a low rate after a certain part of time, like XY, right? Like, so let's say you look at a Flash Fire or a Phantom Forces card. How many people are opening a $2,000 and $3,000 booster box? Not many. Meaning the pop reports of those Charizards or that Dialga or those Gengars, they're not set in stone, but they move up at such a low rate now that, the popularity coming back in the hobby, the popularity of people wanting those cards is going to surpass the amount the population is rising. And so that's why it kind of makes sense to look at pop reports and not freak out about them going up. Now, if you're looking at like, Crown Zenith and you're thinking the pop reports are set in, now that those things could still double, triple, quadruple. We don't know. So it just depends on what era you're looking at when it comes to pop reports and trying to judge the value and, kind of the quantity they're going to be on the market in the future. Do you have any cards where you have a quantity of 100 or more? No, if Retro's still here, that's Retro Specs. Those are the plays he makes. I usually stop at about 10. I'm not one of those guys. Like 10 is usually about the most I'll get of a card to grade. Opinions on Legendary Collection? Vintage market seems to be stagnant or going down while everything else pumps. Giovanni, man, I've been saying that since I started YouTube. Modern's the play. Modern's the way. This is the way. There's always going to be segments of vintage and certain Pokemon and certain cards that do well. But if you're talking about vintage as a blanket statement, it's going to continue to underperform modern. That's what I'm going to tell you. That's my belief. That's my belief all the way. Just doesn't have the legs. It doesn't have enough people that want to go back and collect it. Even people like me, right? Even people who grew up with it and love it. Some of the only vintage I have is like first edition base and a few other cards that are rare or scare. There's nothing in me that like truly wants to go back and collect a lot of the vintage stuff, even the stuff I grew up with. Like, why do I want to go get a Team Rocket Dark, whatever? Like, why do I want to go buy a fossil Magneton or a jungle, Kangaskhan? Why? Why do I want to buy those old hollows instead of buy these amazing new modern cards that have way better art? Some of them next. Why? They're just as rare. They're just as scarce. I can get almost everything that vintage offers in modern. So why would I go back? No reason to. No reason. If Pokemon Classics is still here, he's probably punching at the air right now and hating me, but I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to talk down your vintage stuff. I'm really not. I'm sorry. Retro, what's up, man? Always showing the love. Thanks for telling everyone to hit the like button. Walrus is full of head trash. I agree with that. All right, Walrus, speculating past doesn't guarantee future. It's better to make money now and flip than wait for something that might or might not happen. Yes and no. Yes and no, right? I guess you could argue it's safer, right? It's safer to flip, but you can always, especially if you're grading, you can always have missteps grading. The market can always shift and you can actually lose money flipping. Investing takes no work. You're letting your money work for you. It's just different. It's just different. There's no better or worse. Like flipping and investing should not be a better or worse or a one or the other argument. Flipping is for people who don't have a positive outlook on the long-term value of Pokemon continuing to rise. It's for people who have time on their hands. They have enough time to source cards, get cards in, pre-grade them, fill out the forms to send them in, wait months, come back. They have the time to consistently list, consistently sell cards. For investors, you have a life, right? you have a job. You have a family. You have other hobbies. You have other things you want to do with your time. You want to be able to buy things and let your money work for you the way traditionally investing works, right? You work for your money. You let your money work for you in investing. And then, when it comes time to sell your investments, you make listings one time, right? Maybe it's one, month out of the year or a couple months out of the year where you list things, you sell things, and you're done. Then you go back to letting things grow over time. And so it's not like a one or the other. It's not a better or worse, good or bad. It's just different. And people like Walrus and Retro, they're always going to argue for flipping. People like me, I'm always going to argue for investing. But it's not a one or the other scenario, guys. You got to find what's best for you. Everyone's going to have different things that work for them. I will say, when you constantly flipping, sometimes you're going to miss the biggest moves in the hobby. Someone earlier in the chat talking about they own Cosmic Eclipse booster cases. How much have their Cosmic Eclipse booster cases grown in this last year? How many flips would you had to have made to keep up with that growth? A lot. All right, wait. Investment is like gambling. Diamond hands isn't always good, which I think is overlooked a lot. People keep assuming that diamond hands is good, knowing when to sell is better. Yeah. So knowing when to sell, let's hit on that. Knowing when to sell is better. So investing doesn't mean diamond hands forever, right? Investing can mean any amount of time, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. But like my style of investing is it's the best of both worlds. So what I like to do, I don't have price points in mind. I don't have time frames in mind. I treat every set differently. And so what I like to do is, let's say I buy 3 cases at $600 a case, $100 a box. And if those boxes go, let's say they age in 1, 2, 3 years to 250, okay? I can sell 2 of those cases, right? Get all of my money back I put in, realize some gains, have all that capital to go buy new stuff, and keep 1 case risk-free. It's risk-free, right? I have no money left in it, and I can put that on a shelf for long-term to either grow or fall, whatever it may do. But most of the time in Pokemon, which has always happened, I know we can talk about the future, anything can happen, but it's always happened. Every single booster box has risen in price. We can talk about down times in Pokemon. We can talk about the 2001 to 2015. We can talk about, the Roaring Skies and Primal Clash. We can talk about Crimson Invasion, Steam Siege. We can talk about whatever you want. Over time, every booster box has risen in value. It works until it doesn't. And so that way can work. Or you can just be constantly flipping. But I could argue flipping's dangerous, right? For someone without a lot of knowledge, who doesn't know how to source properly, doesn't know how to pre-grade properly. If the market shifts, you could lose a lot of money grading. Whereas if you're buying, if you bought Chilling Reign booster boxes and Battle Styles and Fusion Strike at $80 a box, well, we've never really seen in Pokemon history boxes go under $80 in modern times, really ever. And so you could argue that there is very little to no risk in buying product at that level, right? So there's always risk in any investment, but I'm always going to talk about the goods in investing. I've done well with it for 8 years, so I don't know. Question: you have $20,000 to spend on Pokemon. Where's your money going? Right back to that question. How much time you got in your hands? If you have a ton of time on your hands, you're super knowledgeable about the market, and you can source cards properly, flip. Use it to flip. If you don't have a lot of time, you want your money to work for you, I would start with, if you can still find Charizard UPCs in the 80s, it's a good price. I think Paldea Evolved, you can find these cases now in the 500s. I think those are good long-term plays. I think a lot of Sword and Shield boxes are good plays, right? Any box under like 140, 130, anything under that right now, especially in like Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, even Astral Radiance. I think all those boxes are good buys. So that's, a lot of the stuff I've been thinking about buying more of. Gives you some idea. No one's got a crystal ball. No one can tell you a perfect answer. Also, like we were talking about before, any type of promo, like Sun and Moon, XY, Sword and Shield promo cards that are undervalued, you can buy into, actually buy the grade. You can buy into the plastic. XY, Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield. I mean, it's just, there's plays everywhere right now. Retro, I think we agree on more than we disagree on. We are just in different spots. I had a full-time corporate gig. I'd be doing way more of the modern sealed. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's in different spots, doing different things. There's no right or wrong, guys. There's no right or wrong. Thoughts on YouTube bears downplaying 151, loading up from their distributors? The bears in this hobby, man, there's some of the people that you would never guess are the most bearish. Like, in some of these Discord groups, they really let out their bearish side, and I just don't get it. Some of the biggest players in the hobby, it's just kind of the world we're in, right? Everyone watches the news. Everyone, is just always worried about the worst possible scenario, and they never want to think about anything positive. They're always worried about the risk, I think if people would open their eyes, look around, they'd realize the hobby's stronger than ever. The economy is not as bad as being led on to be. Everything isn't failing. The dollar isn't collapsing. Banks aren't closing. Not as many layoffs are happening anymore. I just think things are better overall than people realize. Far better off than like 07, 08 recession. And people just, they need something to complain about, right? You always need something new to complain about. And I don't see things that way. Fee, I answered this like a bunch of times. I don't know why you keep, maybe it's not you, but I see this. I keep seeing this. PSA all the way. I stay away from CGC. If you want to play the Black Label Lottery, go with BGS. If you think your card's perfect. Yeah, I'm mega behind, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up. I'm scrolling through a bunch of this. Crown Zenith is a banger. Absolutely it is. Love Crown Zenith. Hey, everyone, this is how you get a handle on things. When you see everyone, like not everyone, but a ton of people who know about Pokemon, you got Retro, you got me, you got Northwoods, you got other people, they all love a set, and that set hasn't moved in price. That's when you get pretty good an idea. Hey, this set's probably undervalued, right? That's when you get an idea that, you know what? It might be a good idea to start picking this up while I still can at these prices. Guys, if I'm skipping your question, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to get through the chat to try to get down to near the bottom. So if I skip yours, I do apologize. I'm trying to read them all, but I can't read them all. Here, this actually comes into a part of this whole negativity and this bearishness. What is your biggest financial mistake you think people make in the industry? Oh, never mind. I thought this was going somewhere else. I thought you were going to ask my biggest financial mistake. You know what my biggest financial mistake was with Pokemon? Not buying more, not being more bullish. If I would have truly bought as much as I possibly could have back when I got in the hobby, I wouldn't be working anymore right now. Still did very well, but it was not buying more. So when everyone always talks about everyone getting hurt and losing money, I always think about every time in this hobby where I've been wrong, it was not buying more of something. Every time, every single time was not being more bullish. Just throwing that out there. Biggest financial mistake people make in this industry, buying into FOMO. Having to buy cards right out of the gate or at pre-release, thinking they're going to be like, it's going to happen somewhat different than other sets are. Never buy any cards pre-release. They almost, I think 100%, if not 99.9%, they all drop. You know, another mistake is having to try to hit every play, right? Having to try to get in on every single play. You don't need to do that, right? If the play makes sense, if it hits the right price point, you buy it. But if something comes out of the gate and it shoots up way too fast and it doesn't come down and you miss your opportunity, you don't need to buy in at 170 a booster box. You can wait for it to come down or you can move on. There's always another play. You missed that one. It's okay. Or if you miss a card and a card's got, if you miss tag teams, right? I missed tag teams, a lot of them. So you missed it. Move on. It's okay. It's okay to miss plays. It's better to not lose money than it is to worry about missing out on making money, if that makes sense. It's always better to not lose than it is to worry about stuff, what money you didn't make. What do you think will be the 3 highest priced cards in 151? No idea. I have no clue. This market's so crazy. If I picked my three favorite cards in every set, I probably would have been wrong every single time. So I'm the worst person to ask that. I have no clue. Yeah, this is an opinion a lot of people talk about. In 20 years, all the yellow border cards, including Sword and Shield, will be vintage. Yellow borders cards going to be in high demand in 50th anniversary. Yeah, 50th anniversary. Oh my gosh. I hope we're alive by then. But yeah, you know, that's something to think about. Yellow borders are a thing of the past. Crown Zenith, last set. It could be something that people go back and want to get a piece of, are those yellow borders. I agree. What's it going to take for vintage to start booming? Pokemon Classics is in the chat, I think, still. Ask him. He might have a better idea than me. It seems like it's stagnating or dropping while everything else pumps. I'm picking up LCRH while the market is down. Yeah, I honestly don't know what would help vintage boom. Other than, you know, people going back to collect first edition base, wanting the first of it, maybe even first edition jungle fossil PSA 10s. I don't know what's going to make people, you know, want to go back and collect Gym Heroes. I don't know what's going to make people go back and collect, you know, Neo Discovery or some of these mid-era sets. I don't know, right? I don't know what's going to make people want to go back and get those hollows. I don't know. But again, I'm the worst person to ask. So I'm not going to pretend I know, because even though I know those cards, I grew up with it. I came up wanting, you know, collecting that stuff again. I cannot sit here and consciously tell you that I believe those are going to come back. I just don't. I just don't. Scream promos, awesome cards. Unagaba, hate them. I hate them. Hot take. The artwork is uninspired to me. I don't like the real plain stuff. I don't like giving all this love and hype to it. It's a famous artist, so we gotta love the cards. I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe there's enough people that are all about the hype of that stuff. It just doesn't look cool to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Is what it is. I love the Scream promos though. They're awesome cards. Those are always going to be a part of history. I'm wondering the same thing, Sir Mac. Where is that reprint at? Where's it at? Thoughts on Gold Stars? Yeah, now Gold Stars, like I talked about, there's going to be certain things in vintage. Gold Stars are going to be fine. They're going to be fine. I don't know if I believe in every grade. Like there could be like eights, nines, and tens maybe. Like I don't know if like every grade's going to be sought after. I don't know how far down the line it'll go. But yeah, Gold Stars are always going to have their place. Absolutely. Here we go. Pokemon Classics. No, bullwhip effect is when there's majority supply chain disruption, pandemic era, for example, and manufacturers, distributors, and retailers way overcorrect their production, creating a flood of supply that overwhelms the market temporarily. Pokemon has quite a bit of demand, but if 9 billion cards per year becomes the norm, will the market digest all like it has? It's going to continue to digest it as long as Pokemon continues to do what they're doing. I mean, you just heard it. There's multiple people in this chat who have said they just got into Pokemon. They're just getting in with 151. They just got in with Sword and Shield Umbreon. They just got in with Hidden Fates. I mean, there's new large amounts of people continuing to get in, which is why Pokemon continues to print more and more and more. So what you're asking is when the demand starts to drop and the supply stays the same, that's up to Pokemon. Will they be able to sense the demand shift and stop and make the supply right with those sets? I don't know. Obviously, if there's no demand and way too much supply, that's going to hurt. But we don't know how Pokemon's going to manage that. Pokemon Classics. So I don't know. As far as like if there's another gigantic disruption and the prints get all thrown off, yeah, it's above my pay grade. I can't even start to think about all that craziness. I just try to react to what comes. Nostalgianomics, do you think CGC changed the new slab? Do you think CGC 9.5's price will go up? I don't know. It seems like the obvious play. I just don't know. Are the 9.5s going to go up, or are the price of 10s going to get destroyed because everyone's going to devalue them? I don't know. It seems like the obvious play. I would think so, but I don't know. I don't follow Modern closely, but anecdotally, I'm seeing product in stock everywhere right now. Again, not my expertise. Just curious if it's a possible factor. No, I mean it's supposed to be in stock, right? I mean that's what modern is supposed to be. It's supposed to be in stock. It's supposed to be widely available. It's just that as sets age out 2, 3, 4 years, it goes out of stock and it starts to disappear from the shelves. It gets opened. It gets put in permanent collections. It disappears from the secondary market, which causes price to go up, which then causes, everyone wants things they can't have. And once people see things, they go to their store and say, hey, it's not there anymore. And they get on eBay and it's $10, $20 higher. Now they want it, right? Now they want to get that box for their collection. Now they want to put a case away. And then also people want to open it more for some reason. You want to open things as things age. No one wants to open Evolutions back in the day. Now people want to open it again. It's human nature. I know it doesn't make sense to your logical brain, but that's how the market works. Vintage next pop will happen 30th anniversary. Monotone. I'm gonna have to pull an Office Space here. I'm gonna have to sort of disagree with you on that. Well, we'll see though. We'll see if 151 helps at all too. It might. Leaf Green Goblin. I'm glad you are not one of those guys in Nostalgianomics. People who buy out cards and their livelihoods don't depend on it are kind of shady. Yeah, that is kind of shady. I agree. Wild Blaze, Flashfire for Japanese were made so nicely playing on English and Japanese on both versions in different ways. Love them. Yeah, I agree, Emmett. No hate at all. I don't expect everyone to like what I like. That would be silly. Same here. That exactly. We should not all like. Flipping is equivalent to day trading, in my opinion. I agree. I'm not going to go any further. It's similar to day trading. Vintage is like an underground band rapper. Only small segment of the population really enjoy it. It's so true. Modern is mainstream. The great thing about Pokemon, it's so diverse and multi-generational. As long as people are enjoying it, that's good enough for me. Absolutely. 100%. Hold on. What do I do? Flipping a slab is worth it if you are good at sourcing and selecting a card. You got to be good at it. It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Where I feel like, even like a novice collector understands why sealed product rises and can put a case of sealed product away and make money. I do not think the thing is you get a warped sense of reality when you're, Retrospecs and Walrus and Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles and all you guys who are experts. You get a warped sense of reality because you become so good at something that you think, why wouldn't everyone do this? This is stupid. Why wouldn't everyone make these plays? And you forget that you gain a large amount of knowledge from doing this. You're very good at sourcing. You're very good at, kind of predicting which cards are going to do well. You're very good at pre-grading, and you understand the markets. Whereas the vast majority of this hobby, first of all, this is like 1% of the hobby that actually watches channels like these and invests, right? The vast majority are just casual collectors, pack openers, just having fun. And so the vast majority of people cannot do what you do. And that's why I just don't think flipping's for everyone. But yeah, when you become an expert and you're good at it, it does become like, this is stupid not to do this. Why wouldn't I do this? I get it. In my case, it takes 5 minutes per month, Alex. I don't give my card to a guy and he'd do everything with PSA and it cost me $30. Yeah, I get it. Flip to flip. It's all in your name, right? People are going to gravitate to what they grew up with. The only set that people that all generations will go back to, even if they didn't grow up, is base set. Yeah, base set, Jungle Fossil, maybe. I agree with that. It's just when you think about when the most people came into this hobby, it was 99 through 2001, and then it was 15 and 16 with Evolutions and Pokemon Go, the Pokemon Go game, the cell phone game. And then it was the pandemic, Logan Paul, all the hype, Hidden Fates, that boom. And then it was Sword and Shield, like all the alt arts, the Umbreon, the next kind of reminiscent after the boom. And then now it's 151 again. It's like, so these are all the biggest times when people are going to remember and come back and collect. Like me right now. You want to know the reason I'm collecting SY cards? Because that's when I came in the hobby. Those are like my secondary memories. Like I have my childhood memories of base set and all that, but memories of me and my wife, like rediscovering our childhoods, opening up all cards, enjoying things, just being able to open, enjoying packs. I wasn't investing. I didn't even know there was investing. I hadn't found SM Pratt yet or any of that stuff. And so I go back to XY because that's when I came in the hobby. And I just know other people my age or close to my age, 20s, 30s, are going to feel that way about Sun and Moon or Sword and Shield or XY like me and want to do that same exact stuff. I just know. I know it. That was true. I believe it. That's why I say this stuff. I'm not trying to pump the market. I'm not trying to be this eternal bull and try to, hype things up and get people, destroyed. I literally believe it. That's why I say it. Flip to flip. So yes, sourcing takes time, but not that much. I will recommend to play the big card, not to waste time with 10 small, with flipping slabs. Better to try 1 at 1,000 than 1 at 10 at 100. Okay. I mean, I guess we can agree to disagree. I think sourcing takes more time than people realize. Maybe you throw a podcast on or some music, or it doesn't feel like work to you. But I think if you actually take in all the hours that you research and, anytime you even do any research on anything about the sets or the cards or the price points, and then amount of time you are looking for cards, I think it's a lot more hours than a lot of people want to add up. I really do. I truly believe that. Oh, Northwoods, come on. No live. There are recordings on the Choose Your Path. Pokemon Classics releasing next Wednesday, so tune into the channel. Okay. All right. We'll have to wait on that. Honor and a lot of fun. Showing some love. Pokemon Classics. So yeah, the Caridian, the Corydon PC ETBs are slept on. So it's kind of following the same popularity as the games. The Violet game was way more popular than the Scarlet game. It sold out a lot more at stores. And so it's the same thing. People just wanted the Violet. They like the Meridon more than the Corydon. Don't know why. Just that's the market. That's what people like. So I think that's why it's staying on the market, and that's why the value of the box and the stamp promo is lower. So yeah, it could be slept on, but I think it's just it's just not as popular. It's not as sought after. Yeah, I know. I need some background music. I know. I'm working on that for the pack break. I'll get some music figured out. Figure out how to do that. I'm still learning all this stuff. I'm a bad YouTuber. I'm sorry. What do you think about the grading industry? Need to improve, or do you think it is currently good right now? Would you consider taking a risk at using a new grading company if it did things better? No, I think the market kind of decides where I go. The value and the liquidity and the confidence is still in PSA. I think they need to get rid of half grades. They're stupid. They don't make sense. I think I know there's companies like I think what is it AGS trying the computer thing, but obviously it'd be nice if somehow we could get more universal on grading, but with human it's never going to be that way. It's hard, right? There's always going to be that level, a human element, no matter how many checks it goes through or how many eyes it hits. But I'm sticking with PSA. It's just where that's where the market's telling me to be. Oh geez, Alex, you need PokeNav in here. All right. Is he still doing stuff? I knew he came back for a second. Is he still back? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what PokeNav's up to these days. All right, guys. I gotta keep getting down. I gotta get down. I'm skipping questions. I'm sorry. If I skip your question, I'm sorry. I gotta try to catch up the chat. Hey, PokeNav is in here. There's PokeNav. Northwest TCG, exactly. The fact that there are now sold out on PC, yet you can still find them under MSRP is the Goldilocks zone. What's up, PokeNav? Thanks for stopping by, man. This is the time for background music when I'm trying to sift through all these comments. Yeah, buying cards on open marketplace that anyone can buy from the current market price. Super shady. Oh, retro. I love it. You guys crack me up. Don't know anything about Sorcery TCG gamer videos. Can't comment on that. John, I've always been a Japanese collector, but that's a dead issue for me now because the Japanese market is completely destroyed, and now the scammers and resellers are getting in extremely bad. Wow. So now long-term Japanese collectors are leaving the Japanese hobby when everyone else is coming in. That's crazy. That's crazy. PokeNav says, good to be here. Yeah, sorry, man. I know you started making videos again. I haven't kept up and seen if you kept the channel going, if you're still making videos. But I know I saw you did come back to YouTube, which was good to see. It's awesome to see, man. I followed you back in the day for a minute. I got out of the market kind of around, I think around when you were starting, maybe. I got out of the market. I sold everything. I didn't watch YouTube. I went away. So, it's good to be back and good to see a lot of the people, coming back to the hobby and staying in the hobby. It's good to see. I did it. I got to the end of the chat. I finally made it. Hey, so anyone, oh my gosh, almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. I got to get going. Anyone who's got any questions, throw them in. Any last minute questions you wanted me to answer before I left, go ahead and throw them. and I'll make sure to take your question before I go. But thanks to everyone for stopping by, having a listen. Had some great chats. Love seeing all you guys in here, especially all the other creators. Congrats on all the content everyone's been creating. I love the hobby right now. I think we're in a good spot. I think a lot of the hate and the divisiveness has died down. I get it. I know I was part of that. I truly believed in what I was saying. You know, it may not have been necessary, but I just believed when I was getting in, you know, and again, I'd love to squash the beef with everyone, with Pokenomics, with Pokeknowledge, right? PK, with Mason Cardinal Gaming, which I think we're in pretty good terms. We talk on Discord. I'd love to squash all the beef, but the reason I was so outspoken is I felt like I was strong enough to not get like over talked, to not to be able to stand my ground on my positions, to not let like large amounts of chats or comment sections or a bunch of different creators influence my positions. And I felt like, you know, I was doing a service, I guess, for the hobby to, you know, show the benefits of modern sealed. And I felt like it was getting a lot of bad rap from PK back in the day, from, you know, Pokenomics, you know, Mason, you know, there were a lot of people were against investing in modern sealed. And I just felt like it was my place to show all the benefits. I wasn't trying to like hate on people, and I wasn't trying to like be divisive, but I feel like we finally reached a part in the hobby where it's accepted. Modern sealed is no longer like, oh, you're a noob, you're not a true investor yet. Dig a little deeper, and then you're going to find what you should be investing in. You know, dig into pop reports, do deep dives into sets, and then you'll realize that's when you're like an established investor or collector. And I feel like we finally reached a point where that's not the case anymore. And everyone respects everyone's plays. And there's just as many modern investors and collectors as there are vintage investors and collectors. And everyone's able to do their own thing. There's no hate. There's no shade thrown, and everything's accepted. And I like the spot we're in. I like that modern is no longer seen as like a laughable thing to say you're investing in. It's no longer like a surface level play or a surface level game. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd love to squash all the beef and hope everyone, you know, can just have a good time from now on. But yeah, I mean, I believed in what I was saying. I believed in what I was doing. I thought I was, you know, I wanted to show people the other side of things, the other way, when I thought there was a lot of negativity on modern. And so, you know, not to get all introspective, but that's the reasoning I had for a lot of the live streams, a lot of the debates and arguments I had with a lot of people back in the day, if that makes sense. Here we go. What do we got? Any last minute questions? All right, let me get through these. Thoughts on grading booster packs? Worth it? I think the vintage booster pack market and like the more rare, like middle era, I think those do pretty well if you get 9s and 10s mostly. The modern play, I know a lot of people tried it. I know like Z and G did. I know old school Pokemon. Like I know a lot of Dan Catch 'em All. Like a lot of people tried those plays. I think some were successful, some weren't. You know, it's definitely like a newer market, I would say. Like it takes a niche collector, I'll say. It's a niche market. You can definitely hit home runs, but just be careful with the pack grading. Be careful with that, I would say. There's money to be made, but there's also losses to be had. Which Pokemon in Scarlet should I choose to invest? If you're talking about product, I like Paldea Evolved more than Scarlet Violet Base so far. 151 is going to be the set of the year. I think it's probably even going to be bigger than Obsidian Flames, but specialty sets have a way of, I don't know. I'm a big believer in booster boxes, so specialty sets don't always perform as good. But then you have sets like, you know, Generations, Hidden Fates, Celebrations. You know, here's the thing: people always they forget Celebrations, and I've even had people tell me Celebrations isn't performing well. Guys, Celebrations was a $50 product. Now it's selling for mid-80s. Okay, almost $90. That's like a 70, 80, 90% gain from $50. That would be like a $100 booster box going for 170, 80, or 90. Okay. If you take into account Celebrations, it's like the fourth best set in performance wise. Now, I'm not saying it's the best card set. It's the 4th best performer in all of Sword and Shield. You got Evolving Skies, you have Base Set, and you have Rebel Clash. Okay? What else is up 70 or 80%? What else? Yeah. Brilliant Stars, Lost Origins were close to that for a while, but now they're both down. So by number-wise, it is the 4th best performing set in all of Sword and Shield. Celebrations is doing well. It's doing well. We have beef too. What's our beef, Walrus? And I won't give you a mod. I don't know what it means. I don't get it. I don't want anyone being banned. I don't want any comments or chats being deleted. Anything is welcome in my channel, whether you hate on me, whether you are pushing me on subjects, whether we don't agree, do agree. I mean, I guess like, you know, I could mod people and you could keep an eye. I've been paying attention to the chat though. I don't have any trolls in the chat, like saying like, you know, any type of sexist or racist or, you know, any type of remarks like that. So what else is a mod for other than deleting those comments? Like, I don't want any type. I want this to be almost like Trump's Truth Social in here. Anything's welcome. You can say whatever you want. You can come in here and bash me if you want. You can say how stupid and much of an idiot I am. I don't care. I don't get it, man. But what's our beef? I know we're always talking about the mod thing. What's our beef? What we got? When will you go through the slabs you have? Would love to see what you had in the case holder? Yeah, I can do that sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely do that sometimes. I mean, you know, probably not everything. I mean, some of the stuff, it's just like plays that I'm making, which I do talk about a lot of the plays. I don't talk about all of them. I also don't want to influence markets where people say, hey, Alex is buying all that stuff. I better go out. And I've already been accused of it already. And I'm just a little bitty channel, under 5,000 subscribers. And I already get accused of manipulating the market now. And so I don't know how many more plays I'm going to continue to share like I have been, just because I don't want to be that person. But yeah, I could show some of my collection one day for sure, man. I can never squash the beef with the Walrus. He's got too many saucy ghost rares. Oh, Mr. Walrus loads up on the Yu-Gi-Oh, huh? And the ultimate rares, huh? All right. Nostalgianomics has beef with my roundtable lineup. LOL. Hey man, I mean, I don't have beef anymore. I mean, I think we've got past it. Most of those people all invest in Modern Sealed now. They all invest in Modern cards. They all believe in Modern. And so in a way, I feel like I've accomplished my mission, right? I've been able to show the other side of things. I've been able to kind of bring people over and see the glory that Modern is. Like Pokemon Classics or like anyone else out there who still is into vintage and believes in it, great. Like there's room for everything. It's just when I came in the hobby, Modern, if anyone doesn't know, you can go back and like watch some videos on all these channels like a year ago or a year and a half, 2 years ago. Modern was getting slammed. People were hating on Modern. Like you were getting called like, oh, like you're a surface level collector, or, oh yeah, you're new. Once you understand the hobby more, once you become more of an expert, then you'll understand what you should be investing in, the cards you should be valuing higher. And it's like people were telling you what you were supposed to like or was supposed to invest in. And I hated that. I thought it was just, that's the reason for a lot of the beef, but all that's over now. Like all that, those debates and conversation, Modern versus vintage, I feel like all that's done and we can all just kind of enjoy the hobby and be happy. Let's see. Anything else before we get out of here? Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, rest of your weekend. Couple weekends away from 4th of July, am I right? Everyone here in the U.S. can be lighting off some fireworks, I hope. I'm way behind, but you're definitely wrong about CGC change, and you don't have a good understanding of the change either. Okay, all right. And like I said, I didn't make a definitive statement. I said it's either going to be one or two things. 9.5s are either going to see a dramatic price rise. That's why people are making plays and buying up all the 9.5s to get that 10. So they're going to be worth more. Or I said, or the 10s are all going to get devalued because everyone knows 9.5s are going to become 10s. And so I don't know what I'm wrong about. Like, I'm not wrong about PSA being the premier grading service. It grades about 1 million cards in the same time CGC or Beckett grade about 50 or 60,000. And PSA grade to grade, other than pristine or black label, they always pull more money and they always sell faster. They're more liquid than CGC cards. And so I don't know what I was really wrong about. Fear bleeds. Like, tell me what I was wrong about. I'm okay being wrong. I just don't know if I was wrong in that circumstance. Let's see. Hey, thanks for being here, PokeNav. I'll have to have you on the channel here soon, man. I'll reach out if you're interested. Love to have you on. As a mod, I'd like to say hit the like button and posting links to your site. All right. So now you're showing me there are actual reasons to have mods. Okay, all right. Got it. What are those slabs behind you? You already know. It's all XY stuff. I mean, here's that Blastoise VMAX, but I got the Venusaur, we got the Charizard, we got the Venusaur VMAX, we got the Groudon. I mean, it's everything I've been talking about in my videos. Like, I don't hide things. I don't tell everyone to do one thing and do another. Here's some cool stuff like the Mewtwo's. I even got some waifus, right? All the good stuff I've been talking about. I've been making videos about it. It's not a secret. You know what I got. I don't have to show it to you for you to know what I got. All right. Anything else? Oh, here we go. All right. Fear bleeds. You said the old pristine 10s were going to be devalued, which I don't think they will. They will increase, in my opinion. I think they'll increase slightly. So, all right. So far, Fear bleeds. I'm not familiar. Like, I don't pay attention to CGC much. And I always get Beckett and what are the CGC 10s? It's pristine and perfect. So I think whatever the highest one is, I believe in, right? If the pristines are the ones to where they can have subgrades that aren't 10s, like you can have like a 9, 9.5, 10, 10 be a pristine. Those are the ones that the 9s are going to be, correct? I mean, am I right? If that's the case, then yeah, I'm just on the opposite side of you. I see it differently. Like, I think the highest ones, the perfect ones, they'll stand the test of time, just like the black labels. But yeah, I mean, when you're going to give every 9.5 a pristine or a 10 or whatever they're calling it, I find it hard to believe. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. All right, guys, I think I basically reached the end. Thanks so much for everyone stopping by. I'll consider making mods out there if everyone wants the mod status. Make sure you check out the pack breaks. If you want to be involved, you can go to nostalgianomics.com, buy one there. Got a lot of older videos on the channel for anyone wanting, advice on or information. I shouldn't say advice, not financial advice. Any info on Pokemon investing, whether it be sealed or singles, slabs, how to buy, how to sell. Got all that stuff on the channel. If you're new to this, make sure to check it out. Other than that, guys, I'll be back here in a new video soon. I'm out.